Vacation.
I got to interrupt, Will. You got to put me on that list. I'm headed to Puerto Rico next week, so I'll be out a week.
That's it.
But don't side eye.
Not allowed to do that. Yeah, not allowed to do
Look
that.
at him. Don't side. Don't vacation shame me.
No. This is it. The
Dibs, help me.
August 12th is the deadline. No, Dibs has a special.
Yeah,
he's got a special dispensation.
Well, I got a stretch 4 coming too for the birthday. The birthday's Monday. Our birthday. Kyle and I share a birthday. I'm going stretch 4 on you. I'll be off Friday and Monday.
Look at you.
And then a couple of weeks for paternity. I was mentioning earlier in the week that last time I had a kid, which was 19 years ago,
pre-internet,
there was no. Well, it was early days of internet, dial-up, but there was no such thing as paternity leave. If you didn't carry it, if you didn't birth it, they could give 2 craps about your time off. But now your boy gets 6 weeks.
There was
no
such thing.
But you won't use all 6 because you're dedicated.
Oh, yes, you will.
You're gosh dang right. I'm using 2 now. The beauty too is you get 6 weeks to use over a year.
Oh, you sprinkle it.
You sprinkle me.
Shout out E40.
I'm gonna hit you with 2 now, 2 about Christmas, and then 2 in the spring.
Guy's still going to be taking paternity leave when the kid's walking.
Exactly.
Will Dibs be doing the night feeding? You know, will you be taking turns doing the night feeding, or do you just say, "Honey, get it"?
Well, it's funny because I went to
get it. That marriage is going to last real long.
Get that out the bay.
Get it.
You know,
get it. I haven't fake sleeping so long. That's how I used to do it.
Max Muncy, get that out of the bay.
Change his diaper.
No, it's.
Or do you give her a fist bump and go, "Honey, let's get it"? And then just kind of.
No, I'm big on. I'm actually elite as a diaper changer.
Are you?
Yeah,
you got the genie. You got the
diaper
genie.
You got the diaper genie.
Yeah, but I think that's one of the few things that's the same now is the pee pee poo poo cycle.
Yeah. What about a swaddle though? Anybody can change a diaper. Can you swaddle?
I can flat out swaddle.
I
can't properly roll a burrito.
Look at you.
There's other things I can't roll, but I can definitely swaddle.
If you're struggling, just bring the baby into Gordo's. They're really good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Going to Gambino's. Can you do this? Can you swaddle for me?
Get 2 soft tacos, and can you swaddle this for me, please?
Changeover is brought to you by Oakland PD Recruitment. Be the change you want to see. And you're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the Odyssey app. Hi, Larry.
What's up?
What's going on?
Man, I was screaming at my TV last night. Tyler Rogers, freaking Rogers, and the question is, it's a 1-word question. Why?
Yeah,
right.
Except for I wonder because I had the same question, and I saw what you wrote, and same thing. My tweet was Brebbia is not available, which is when you're reaching out for John Brebbia, maybe that's already a problem. Although he's been good. He's been good this year.
He's been better than Rogers.
But I guess the answer is yes. He's not available. Him and Duvall were not really available. I
don't like not really.
Well, okay, here's my thing. Here's my thing.
Why were they not available?
Well, because they had pitched 2 nights in a row, and this is their thing. And so I guess what I'm wondering, because none of us wanted to see Tyler Rogers come in that moment, but I pretty quickly got to a spot of this is a failure in the build of the bullpen, not in the decision. So, when Hunter Pence came on the podcast a week and a half ago, he could not have been more firm. He goes, they don't need 1 lefty, they need 2. You've got, that is what this team needs, left-handers in the bullpen. And they don't have them. And if the present matters to you, which is what Farhan said, then you needed to go get a left-hander in the bullpen because they've got a hole. They have a hole right now, and it got exposed in the 9th inning with Juan Soto due up. And you had to go to Tyler Rogers, which was a really bad matchup. And hell, before Machado ended it, Soto came within 5 feet of ending it himself.
I know, down the left field line, almost got out. Well, what I don't
almost hit that poor Friar mascot. Need to get out of the way.
Yeah, that one hurt.
I don't get why. Rogers is much better against righties than lefties. You had 2 lefties coming up in that inning. You don't got anybody else.
They don't.
They don't. That's the thing.
They don't.
And here's the guy that has been horrendous for the last month. I mean, he's been bad. So, and I've heard nothing but, watch out. They got RJ Dabovich, they got Cole Waits, and these guys are both nasty, and they're going to be up in September. Let's treat today like September.
And that piggybacks off what I was saying, Dibs. There is no tomorrow where the Giants
shout out Apollo Creed.
Duvall pitched 1 time against the Dodgers, and had you trusted him last night after his fantastic night, the game prior, would his arm had fell off? No. So I would have just went, that's just me. I'm not a manager. I would have went there because, we got to save him for tomorrow. Tomorrow might be too late.
They're
And
saving
he
for if
just
they
had
had
a
the
great
lead.
outing and he's strapping strong.
Tie score.
Let's trust him.
They were
Right,
hoping to keep him, in case they needed him in the 10th.
Here's one
and
thing.
give him the ball with the lead.
And you guys tell me if you accept this or not, because I don't think what they're saying is if you trusted him last night, there's no tomorrow in the standings. But there is a tomorrow for his career, and he's throwing 103 miles an hour. And again, you guys tell me if you accept this or not. Their point is that in order to, and I didn't learn this until I've been watching baseball for a long time. A lot of these guys who throw 95 can throw 100, but they don't because you have to pick your spots. Remember John Smoltz, who's a starter for years.
Sure.
At the end of his career, all of a sudden he came out and throwing 97. It's like, you didn't throw 97 before. Have you always been able to do that?
How about Hater?
Right.
Because we're watching a different Hater.
So I don't want them to take liberties with Doval's arm. I don't know if it would have shown up last night, but if they're cavalier like that all the time, this is a team that they could probably pitch Doval almost every night.
But this isn't about Doval.
Okay.
This is about Rogers.
The
Rogers
I
can no
agree.
longer
I
be
agree.
used in high leverage situations.
Walk off.
The answer is pitch Rogers in the 6th. Don't pitch Rogers in high leverage situations. Pitch him in the 6th. Use Junior Marte, who's got 2 big time wipeout strikeout pitches. Use him later. The problem with Rogers and the problem that Kapler got into last night, guys, is you can't pitch Rogers at all in extras because he gives up contact and you got the runner on second.
Absolutely.
So he's
correct.
thinking, I can't use him in the 10th. I got to use him here. It's just a frustrating deal.
Well, it comes back to Mark's
though.
point, though. I think about you're at least 1 arm short, probably 2 arms short. And I was running down the worst arms in baseball in the bullpen based on WAR. Bullpen WAR. The Giants are 7th worst in baseball in bullpen wins over replacement. The 6 teams that are worse than them are all the bottom feeders in baseball.
So why are we shocked then? Because you guys
Exactly.
talked
We're
about
not-
the structure
you shouldn't be
of
shocked.
what you have or don't have at your disposal.
Yeah, the only reason you should be shocked, and I know, by the way, they did have another lefty in the pen, but it's Alex Young, and they don't trust him. So
what does that say?
Well, there you go.
It says that
It
you're at
says
least
that
you're
this
2
thing-
arms away from being 2
Right.
arms away.
This thing is
what
not
you're saying.
this thing is not constructed well and was not addressed at the deadline, and whether that was an opportunity or not, I don't know. But when you say should we be shocked, the only reason we should be shocked, I guess, is that there are guys who pitched really well last year, and poof, Jake McGee,
Not even on the team.
Tyler Rogers. I don't know what happened. Should they have seen it coming? I didn't.
Well,
I don't know.
How about this? If you're going to use somebody out of the pen, change him out at the end of the year. Tyler Rogers had 84 appearances last year.
Man, that sounds like a lot.
McGee's he's a 1-pitch guy, and he lost a little velo. He's been DFA'd twice now because 1-pitch guys who lose 3 miles an hour
Exactly.
That's a
are
wrap.
suddenly
It's
BP.
batting
Yeah.
practice
that's a wrap.
guys.
So, I
Exactly.
mean, they're in a tough spot, but they do have young arms on the 40-man, or maybe not on the 40-man, but in the organization. We're going to see them next month, and we're going to remember last night because we're going to sit there and go, wait, RJ Dabovich, wow, Cole Waits, wow. Where were those guys in August?
Yeah, and
I
Monday,
really think
was,
that's
Monday
coming.
was so spectacular, and then yesterday was equally disappointing. And it leads you to today. If you lose today, well, now you're starting to think about this whole thing being just a wash if you're 7.5 out.
Larry, I get what you're saying, but let's visualize that for a second. So, okay, it's 4-4. You're in San Diego. There's 40,000 people going nuts, and it's Juan Soto and Manny Machado are due up. You're going to throw a rook? Like that's.
I'm going to throw a guy. How about this, Mark? I'm going to throw a guy with a big league arm and a big league arsenal. I would DFA Tyler Rogers. To me, it's inexcusable that they DFA'd Kervin Castro. I know Castro's having a bad year, but Castro's 22. He's 22.
And
Last year,
he's got wicked stuff.
Well, this year, I guess, Dibbs, he didn't. But 96 last year with a 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock break on the curveball, those are 2 wipeout pitches. You just DFA'd him for 4 games of Dixon Machado, and now Kervin's on the Cubbies. You just gave away 2 arms for 4 days of a middle infielder. So I don't know. I just think that I would have liked to. I don't need to see any more of Tyler Rogers. I feel like I've seen it.
But you have nothing to replace him with.
DFA is a little heavy.
What are you
handed.
replacing them with?
I mean, he was really good.
Does he
last
have
year.
options,
here's the other angle on this
I don't
that I think
think
needs
so.
to be
Then he
mentioned.
has to be DFA'd.
Tyler Rogers is a trick pitch guy. And who has he absolutely gotten ruined against? The Dodgers and the Padres, because they've seen him the most. He's got 5 or 6 appearances against both those teams.
Also the best
He's got
teams.
true, but Dodgers have he's got like a 9 point against the Dodgers.
Yeah.
He's got like a 6 point against the Padres. Don't feature him late in the year against teams that have seen him. Spot him better than they're spotting him.
We're a team here. I'm not being messy. And in real time last night, Shasky sent the tweet about where was Bart.
Yeah.
I fired a retweet like that's legit. And I'm sitting there because I owe Gabe an apology. True story. The post-game presser, he said he was hurt and he won't be available today. And I said, damn, you are off my hook. That was it. That's why we didn't see Joey pitch it. So what was today about when I heard Joe on the show? What were you guys going back and forth over?
Because so here's my thing. And part of this is 9 times out of 10, if not 99 times out of 100. This does not mean that managers and coaches and executives are always right, because obviously they're not. And we all get to have I'd have done it this way. And what I liked about your Tyler Rogers thing, Larry, was it came out at the beginning of the inning. It's real easy. Right.
Before he got
It's
torched.
super,
When he got warmed up.
Any buffoon can be like, well, that was dumb. You came in and gave up a walk-off homer.
Should have double bagged it.
Yeah,
the
but Larry,
Brett Favre commercial.
You and I tweeted
Nice.
right away when it came out. I said, I don't like this matchup.
Right.
I don't like this
No
matchup
one
at all.
liked it.
And then it blows up. That's a little bit better. But 99 times out of 100, these people who are in dugouts and on sidelines and on benches, they know what they're doing, or at least they have a reason for why they're doing what they're doing. Joe called in because I was making fun of the fact that there's no problem with asking the question, why didn't Bart play? But then wait for an answer before you head down the road of Kapler's a buffoon, because this is where that whole thread
Because we didn't know he was hurt.
and
Right,
it's like we spent an hour, we fanned flames, we stirred the pot, we went crazy, all for no reason at all. For no reason at all. That's the fairness. I just think every fan gets to be crazy. You're a fan. But at least, I don't know, like, don't come from the premise of like, Dibbs and I were joking just a minute ago. Like, it's almost like fans think Gabe is in the dugout and wins, goes out and grounds out, and then goes, oh, damn, I forgot we had Bart. Shoot, I probably should have put him in there.
Yeah, boy.
He's not an idiot. Like, yeah, there are reasons. You don't have to agree with them, but there are reasons for these decisions.
Just
Always.
do what you're normally going to do, and just at the beginning of the tweet, just say, unless he's hurt. Unless he's hurt, and then just say exactly what you're going to say before.
It's tough. I mean, fan is short for fanatic. I steal that from Goo all the time, and I know you
I
stole
stole
it
it from Pete Franklin.
Rest in peace. I love Pete the legend, which he gave me your start about 20 whatever years ago. But we're all fans. We all get fanatical about that. But I try to think in terms of what you said, Mark. Like, he knows that Joey Bart is a better hitter than Austin Wynns, and if he were available, he'd be in that spot. The Tyler Rogers one is interesting because what you said, Larry, he is kind of a trick pitcher, and teams who have now seen his pitching style, it's really off-putting if you've never faced that. But once you do face it, his stuff is it's like an 82-mile-an-hour fastball.
Yeah.
The changeup is 71. It's largely hittable if you're not uncomfortable to face that.
You got all day.
McGee and Rogers need to be pinpoint perfect with their control, or else it doesn't work.
Right.
And if they're not, and they haven't been, you spin a curveball over the middle of the plate.
I would have.
And
I
Manny
know this is
Machado
going to say
gets
sound
into the
crazy,
van.
guys, but I'd rather in that situation have seen Luis Gonzalez, because Luis Gonzalez at least is an uncomfortable, unfamiliar at bat.
Throwing high 40s.
Rogers is literally the BP pitcher. He's literally thrown at that speed. So I don't know. I mean,
But Profar made a great catch. Long ago, that was a great
did.
hit back.
That
I
was a
thought
great
it was dropping. That was a great catch.
that was the ball game right there.
I was already ticked off though because of the previous at bat. Because
Oh,
this was a two-pronged angry inning. Like you're mad with what happens later that Tyler Rogers gets sent
The
in.
JD Davis off the
Yeah,
corner.
you're
Where's
right,
Cap?
it's
Cap's not getting mad about that. Where he's like a church mouse
Yeah.
in the dugout. He's
But
quiet as-
yeah, what are you going to do? Balls and strikes arguments last 1 second.
I'd like to
You're
see.
out.
You know what? You this guy just showed up on your club. How about get his guy? How about have his back? How about run out there? You're going to show all this passion at times. That was the spot to show passion. JD Davis has been on the team a week. He got a terrible call on the inside corner. He got a worse call on the outside
on the
corner.
1-0 pitch.
Go out there and get run.
The ump was incredible too. He was 97% based on ump scorecards, but the two worst calls that he had were both in that same at bat, and it turned out to be pivotal. Where, I mean, it's one thing if Josh Hader is like lighting up the strike zone, then maybe you give him a call.
Exactly.
But he was so wild to give him both of those was really out of bounds.
That's 2 meltdowns. What's happened to him? I mean, to the point to where his own team gave up on him. I know he's a new dad, but I liken him to Eck in his prime with the A's. Like, this dude, you're out. You ain't scoring. And Dibs, I called him a machine
on
a
the
month
Sunday
ago.
show,
Yeah, 2 months ago. I liken that to what the Giants are doing. Through 110 last year, 69 wins. And I know extenuating circumstances, guys, and this year, 54 wins.
I think Milwaukee knows something about Josh Hader that no one else
But
knows.
what could it be?
He's just lost his way.
Those are 2 meltdowns.
If you, I mean, I hate these
Ball
insights.
2.
You can use a number to to make any statement you want, but I think that if you look hard at his like internal numbers,
they overused him, Larry.
His numbers have been sliding for like the last couple of seasons, and Milwaukee just got out in front of it.
Yeah, agreed.
Well, I also think we're overstating it because of the 2 games that we've watched. I mean,
they were just
yeah. I mean, he's had
Melvin
2
left for me
unbelievable
to die.
meltdowns against the Giants.
Right.
Yes.
But if let's go to it was July 15th, the walk-off grand slam for Yaz, and then there was last night. Out in between those, 1, 2, 3, 4,
He got traded
5,
in between those
6 outings in between those 2 giant meltdowns.
2 hits,
and in those 6 outings, he has given up a total of 1 run.
But before the Yaz walk-off slam, look at the outing before the Yaz slam. He gave up, I think, 2 or 3 runs.
Yeah, he got touched up. He blew a save in Minnesota. Right? But that pushed his ERA from 1.82 to 2.73. So let's not like.
But where is it now?
He got kicked out the
High
door,
threes?
too, to Dibs' point.
4.66.
He's over.
But
and Milwaukee knew it.
Something's up, man.
But the 2.73 to 4.66 is solely based on the 2 outings against the Giants.
Yeah.
Against the 13th best offense in baseball.
He was just
Milwaukee knew he's done.
He was fractured,
I
man.
mean, yeah.
He
I don't know.
He created the rally.
You're right.
Oh, totally.
I wanted to get.
I mean, Wilmer like muscled a base hit to left,
Right.
And other than that, people were just standing there.
Bell knew he was getting walked.
I mean, Slater got hit.
Oh,
he had 4 walks. Longo was the hardest hit
Wake
ball.
up, Bonell.
Yeah.
Come and take him out.
Just stand there.
Did you guys see Longo's mohawk?
Oh, that's awful. It's awful.
It's got a little ginger to it, right?
Yeah.
It's like a mix of Jock Peterson and your boy Dibberclaws.
Yeah, but you need more hair.
Speaking of which, when did Jock start bailing out the box?
Well, Jock, I don't know what's going on there. He hasn't looked good for a month and a half, but he also is always an awkward watch.
Okay.
That was like
an awkward ball.
That was
player.
a fly swatter swing.
Dude,
Yeah.
like, come on, man. Stay in there.
Yeah. Well, by the way, though, I will I know everyone with the
You're
dark
going to
platoon
defend a Giant?
No, I'm not going to yeah,
Play
right.
the breaking news.
What a thought. This isn't a defense of him.
Okay.
But remember when everyone was like, he's your all-star.
Right.
Play him every day.
Right.
Now you know what he looks like against lefties. You still want him in there? You still want him to go play every day? Because that's what he looks like against
Look at
lefties.
Farhan Jr. over here.
They
I love
need
it.
today, though. They need today. They get it to 5.5.
Today-
They still got action.
Yeah, even
You got to have it.
Even Dibs thinks
You
he
gotta
might.
have
And
it.
my
Yeah.
son is there. I left him down in Southern California.
Nice.
He's at the game, and I texted him earlier, and I said, "You come home with a Giants win or no ice cream sandwiches
Before
for a
you go.
month." And he just texted back one word: "Damn."
I'm gonna say this.
Pressure's on, and everybody in
smart
San Francisco,
kid.
right? You all know now if they don't win today, it's my son's fault.
No doubt.
I'm gonna go Reverend Johnson real quick here. I know you're out of here, Mark.
Yeah.
Damn it.
And
As
show
much
me
as I love sports, nobody or no player ever superseded Norman Johnson. That was my hero, the Good Dad Club. You posted a picture with your kids on the plane.
Man.
I've seen you with my nephew at the game. We didn't eat, but we watched the game. But Larry, I know you. We've known each other. I know you're a good dad. And Dibs, man, that means something. We just need more of them, man. But kudos to you three.
Oh man, I
being there for
Same-
real.
And by the
Same
way,
to you.
genetics are real because you look at the picture of you and your 3 offspring.
That's it.
And those kids aren't adopted. Those kids are not adopted.
Yeah.
And you are the father.
You are leaving now. Here
Yeah,
comes Gil and Larry.
He brings the passion.
For what? I want to know now. I'm mentally invested. Don't tell me.
And say what you really want to say.
Simon, you're doing a great job.
And together, they're Steiny and Guru. On 95.7 The Game.
Welcome, Bay Area. It is Steiny and Guru. Larry Krueger in for Steiny. And Larry, if you see water, it's because I'm tearing up. It's our last day. So we got to make it count.
Man, it has been fun hanging with you this week, man.
Well, you stood me up yesterday, or did I stand you up? Something happened. Miscommunication.
Well, no, we had meetings after the show. Are we going to get together today after the show? Or what's the deal?
TBD.
Okay.
Okay, there we go. Yeah. But we got a lot to get to. I mean, we'll talk about the Giants. They still got action, but that one hurt. And you know why it hurt? And we want to hear from you. 888-957-9570. You could find us on Twitch and YouTube, 95.7 The Game. Because the night before, it was that 1-0 incredible game. And I'm one of those, Larry. I know you're not going to believe me. Steiny doesn't. I'll take a 1-0 over 8-9. Like, that game the night before and Doval came and closed it, that was like, man, we still got technically action, get to the playoffs through San Diego, and I'll just let you go. Last night, I didn't see that coming. I'm talking about the Giants comeback, and the beautiful thing about baseball, Larry, is I want to say, oh, the Giants didn't earn it. They earned it because Hader he was awful.
He imploded.
But damn, Profar's catch and the walk-off is what really hurt me. And I'm like, man, how do you show? Like, I'm one of those guys that feel like a win like that last night, you're just dead men walking today. It's worth 2 wins.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, what do you expect today? I expect the Padres to blow their doors off today.
Go ahead.
You know, so but I mean, what really kills me is that every game in the big leagues is not like every other game. The Giants have had a rough. I mean, I ain't telling the audience anything they don't know. They've been free falling since the break.
Shout out Tom Petty.
They suddenly get a little momentum going against the lowly A's.
Damn.
They carry that into a series against the Padres, who are gripping for whatever reason, not scoring runs. They get behind 4-1. Somehow, one of the National League's better relievers lets them back in it. They tie the game. Profar makes that catch. Otherwise, the Giants probably win. And then you're going to the 9th inning against the Padres. And to me, who you put out in that situation was defining. And to go to Tyler Rogers in that high leverage situation was just inexcusable. Now, the way the game played out, there weren't a lot of choices. But I mean, go to Tyler Rogers in low leverage situations. He throws 74 miles an hour, and stop featuring him against teams in your division. Look at his numbers against the Dodgers. Look at his numbers against the Padres. Forget those teams. Look at his numbers against the Diamondbacks. He's got nearly a 5-point against them. Why? Because if you see him 3 times, you know him better. You see him 5 times or 6 times, like these teams in the division have at this point in the schedule, you know this guy. And these are big league hitters, man. You can wait forever on a guy who throws 74 and just flick it the other way. So I just hated seeing Rogers. I tweeted it. I'm like, oh my God, why? Why are you going to Tyler Rogers?
When he was going out there, you were, because I missed your tweet.
I couldn't believe it.
Because I was saying Doval. Because the reality is there is no tomorrow, Larry.
Right.
Go back to the young kid. And every time I look at him, I'm like, this dude could be on a hoop court, on the football field. His arm's not going to fall off. But damn, maybe it only takes him 3 pitches. But that's what you're talking about. It's bigger than Gabe in regard to this is where I go to Farhan. Why is this bullpen in the state it's in? Why are the cupboards bare? And to lose it in the fashion they did after the gifts you got, and long ago I thought that ball was dropping, it didn't. So today's a must win. I'm stating the obvious, but I just don't see how you get off the mat. But I'll say this to you, Larry, and I mean this about Farhan. The oven is on 450. It's like you could say, "Oh, he's got to need more time, this or that." He's on the hot seat.
You think
because
so?
For who
Is
are
he-
you?
is he
Who
more
are
on
the
the hot
Giants
seat
to
than
say
Gabe?
bye-bye to McGee? How about fix McGee? Because what did I tell you guys? 69-41 at this juncture last year, 54-56 this year. You telling me that's all Buster Posey?
No. It's the bullpen. It's the defense. It's Buster. It's the lack of offense. They don't score any
Bad
runs.
base running.
Bad base running. But then at the deadline, okay, you didn't trade Rodon. You didn't trade Peterson. You added J.D. Davis and some arms. If you're not going to sell Rodon, if you're not going to sell Peterson, essentially the message you're sending to your clubhouse is, guys, we think we're in it. Now, I think that's delusional, but that's the message you're sending. So why not go after an Amir Garrett? The Royals are going nowhere and have been going nowhere.
That's
you got a
interesting.
lefty reliever, throw smoke. They needed to add another lefty reliever, a veteran lefty reliever, to their bullpen. Instead, Farhan does a little bit of this, a little bit of that, adds J.D. Davis, sells
Episode
off
of Sanford and Son, junk for junk, basically.
yeah, I mean, just move deck chairs around the Titanic as the thing slip into the bottom of the North Atlantic. I mean, it's just, what are you doing? Where's the direction? So I thought they looked kind of directionless at the deadline. I blame that on Farhan, but I blame this last night on Kapler, man. You cannot put out a reliever who's getting ripped in August. Terrible ERA in August, terrible ERA in the last 30 days, really bad ERA against the Dodgers and Padres. Those teams have seen him the most. This is a guy who needs to be spotted. A little bit here, a little bit there. Maybe
you're really over
you
him.
sneak him in the 6th inning after your starter goes 5 shutout, and you hope you can steal an inning with Tyler Rogers. Stop pitching him in high leverage situations against left-handed hitters. He can't get those guys out and didn't.
And again, the numbers are what they are. Steiny and Guru right here on 95.7 The Game. Larry in for Steiny. We got a lot to get to. We got guests too, Larry. I didn't even mention. We got Scott Osler at 2, and also the great Adam Kaplan from at 1 o'clock. He'll join us. Everything football. But let's just say they brought Doval back out there, and he gave up that that home run. I would have went to sleep okay with it because I would have understood it better. Because you're playing the percentages than running your guy out there, which nobody had. George Michael don't even have faith in him.
At that point, you put your best out there. And to me, Brebbia or Doval would have been better. I understand the fear in using Rogers in the 10th or the 11th or in extras because of that runner on second base thing. But forget the 10th.
Yeah.
Play for the moment right there. Odds are the Padres are way better than you. They got a ton more power, way more firepower. They're at home. Don't think that you're going to get into some long, elongated extra inning battle. Play for the moment. I wanted to see Brebbia there. I didn't need to see Doval, but I wanted to see Brebbia. And I don't know. I mean, it's at the end of the day, but to me, it's more about Rogers can't be used in those high leverage situations. He's got to be kind of hidden and pick your spots a little bit more carefully. And also, you got to wonder, any reliever you use 85 times in 1 year, odds are the next year he's not going to have quite the same juice late in the year. It's late in the year. So, I mean, make the adjustment, Gabe.
And it's funny. We're all fired up for Friday, week 1, the Niners preseason game against the Packers at home. And I get it. NFL is king. But, Larry, I'm sorry. And I grew up like this. There is nothing like pennant baseball, pennant fever. That game last night to me had implications. San Diego's pretty much, they know they're in unless they swoon. And I thought we were seeing a swoon. And there was a time I'm like, you know what, Soto, he don't got punk vibes. I don't like the stuff he does after the pitch when you don't deliver. Then he hits that mammoth home run. Then you see Manny with the walk-off. And you're right, Tatis, he's on his way. We haven't even seen it manifest with all of them there. They're going to be a beast, and they're going to be a hard out. And I'm just looking at the Giants, and I can't stop thinking about, okay, they're going to have some money to spend, but will the resources or the groceries be there when you go to the supermarket to get what you need? And right now, Larry, I know we're hearing JD Martinez and guys like that, but they're bottom tier. It ain't the Sotos. It ain't that Judge will be available. So
I mean, the guy that I would
say
go
never.
after Goo is Trey Turner, because you got to.
But why would they say bye to him?
Well,
he's everything to me. I was thinking that on.
Outbid them.
Okay.
I mean,
Money talks.
And LA doesn't re-sign every free agent they have.
But he's good, man.
He's a tremendous
he sets
player.
the table.
And you play him at second for a year, then you move him to short when Crawford says goodbye. To me, he's the perfect addition in a lot of ways. He's speed. He's athletic. He can play both sides of the bag. He gives you insurance against Crawford because you're not going to get rid of Crawford, right? They're going to the finish line with Crawford. So you got to have a real second shortstop. Turner would give you that. He'd give you an excellent player up the middle. I think that's the guy to go after. And also, let's be honest, if you're going to cut down the Dodgers, it's not just going to be because you got all this talent. You better start trimming what they have. You better go right at their guys. You better take Turner away from them, because you need that double. You need that addition and the subtraction from their lineup to actually try to close that gap. That's how big that gap is.
I'm going to say this to you before we go to break here. Farhan, you stay away from the coffee. Glenn Ross, closers. Oh, you know, only closers get coffee. Thank you. I'm about to botch it, but he's got to do something this offseason for the Giants to get a guy like Trey Turner, who I would love in orange and black. But Larry, when we get back, we were talking in the green room and the excitement about the San Francisco 49ers. What do fans want Trey Lance to be? And I'm not saying successful. That's obvious, Super Bowl winner. But what do you want him to be? We're going to get into that when we get back. Larry Krueger, Daryle the Guru Johnson, right here on 95.7 The Game.
Spend your mornings with the Morning Roast.
Sorry about that. You could edit that. My bad. I was laughing. I had a skittle coming down my throat.
until 3 p.m. And at 1 p.m., we got the great Adam Kaplan. Larry, he's a Sirius XM NFL host and insider. So we talked to him a lot last year and the years before. So he has a lot of insight. So we'll get his thoughts on everything football. But before we get to Trey Lance, can I just share with you something that's happened to me?
What do you got?
It's okay. So I'm trying to get back in the lab. I call the gym the lab. I'm still hooping at 50. Okay. So, Larry, I've turned into the guy.
Half or full? You play full?
Yeah, full.
You run full?
I'm running full. So I'm winning already if I go 0 for 9.
Okay.
But, Larry, I'm in there Sunday. Not many people in the gym watching the Giants game. And I take out my phone to film myself at the gym for a good 25 seconds and posted it. And if Steiny were here, he'd be like, why? And he don't have to be here for me to say why. Why did I? Like, how weak does that look? And you follow me on the book.
How did you do it?
I'm on the elliptical, and something just said, be one of these young punks. And film yourself.
Okay.
Like,
I thought you meant when you were playing
filming
hoops.
Food. Go to a good restaurant and enjoy your outing. It's almost like Americans are saying, if you don't put it on your phone or show it, it didn't happen.
Right.
And then I'm watching myself up and down. I'm on the, like, Larry, what's happening to, I've been infected.
Well, I mean, do
you do stuff like that?
I mean, I definitely don't film myself on the elliptical.
Yeah.
No, I don't. You know what? I'm
ashamed.
I'll say this. I was at camp the other day and somebody was like, hey, will you take a picture with me? I went over, took a picture.
That's different. I hope you did.
I did. Okay. I did. But I mean, it's like, that's
different, Larry.
It's not my thing, but
cheese.
I'm not, I make fun of my kids all the time because, there's like, my daughter probably has like 7 billion pictures. I mean, it's her and her friends are, they take pictures of everything all the time. But it's just a different thing. On the elliptical, though. Video?
And then, video. And it stayed up there on Facebook. And every time I go just to look to see other stuff, there I am just like, why did I do it? But
why
I don't know.
Facebook, but not Twitter?
Now that hurts me.
I can't find you on Twitter.
Triple D.
Oh,
Dolly Parton was had a big part of my upbringing.
I was typing your name in.
It's Triple D Guru.
Oh, okay. I gotta find you on Twitter. I might probably
follow you.
You
man.
I probably follow you.
But the worst part about that, Larry, is I'm gonna get a new follower when you do find me. Now that you know I'm excited. But let's get to the football. Now, I'm going to tell you how I feel and my expectations on what 5 is going to be for the 49ers, because it was not sold to me. It was billed that this kid had legs, can run, has the cannon arm, which we've seen. Jimmy didn't have those traits and qualities. So now you talk about Kyle Shanahan in a division where Kyler Murray is showing you this new hybrid quarterback. You got Russell Wilson, or you had him. And I'm like, Kyle's probably over there like, I wish I had something like that. Well, guess what, Larry? He went and got it. So when people ask me, what is Trey going to be? And I know it's going to be growing pains, but at the end of the day, I visualize Donovan McNabb, and that's a good thing to me. I visualize Josh Allen, Vince Young on a good day. Am I looking, or my expectations for Trey Young, are they off? Do you look at me like, Goo, you got this all wrong? Because you better have these qualities, because you wouldn't have moved mountains, Kyle, to bring him in.
I think there's a couple reasons he's here. One, it's the cap. You want to reset your cap. It's the contract. So it's not necessarily
I hate that.
Trey's better than Jimmy, but Trey's contract is more favorable to Jimmy. And the roster you can build around Trey is superior to the roster you can build around Jimmy. So I think that's first and foremost, that's the deal. But then if you dig deeper, I think Trey Lance is smarter than Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo makes the same mistakes, and he makes them over and over and over again. I don't believe Trey Lance is going to be that player. I think Trey Lance is going to make mistakes, but then he's going to learn from those mistakes. He's going to eradicate that. He's going to move on. And then I also think Trey's here because Trey takes care of the football. Look at his turnovers at North Dakota State. Granted, small sample size, FCS has to be factored in. But he set his own protections, and he didn't turn it over. So That is something that I think he's going to be able to replicate in the NFL. Not at the same degree, he only had one pick in his college career, but he's going to take better care of the football than Jimmy Garoppolo. I think he's mentally going to be more in tune with the game plan. I think he's going to make fewer repeated mistakes than Jimmy. And he, as I said to you yesterday, Jimmy was 16% completion percentage on throws down the field. The league average is 30%. He's going to open up the down the field for you. Now you got Danny Gray. Now you got, you can run guys on deep routes, but if you don't have the quarterback to throw the pill down the field, they're going to stop defending that grass. And that's what happened. So Lance's arm strength and foot speed and Danny Gray's ability to get deep is going to open up the field. It's going to create a lot more space. That's really at its core what offensive football is about. So that's it. Those are the three things. He's going to create more space, turn it over less, and he's going to make fewer mistakes because I think overall he's a smarter football player.
Now, I called you a good dad earlier in the changeover, and I've seen it. And for people driving around, what if they took that is disrespectful, the fact that you can say Trey in a short sample size and not at a big time college program is smarter than Jimmy? What if I were driving what's Larry basing that on?
I'm basing that on he set the protections in college. He the system that he came out of was not a basic system. It was a somewhat complex system. He's got more experience under center. Jimmy Garoppolo, they used a lot of the play action game. He really couldn't operate the play action game with any efficiency under center because when he turned his back on the defense and when he turned back around, it was like he was seeing the picture for the first time. Trey, I think, is outstanding. He's worked at the nuances of the play action game. He's a great ball handler. He'll do head and shoulder fakes and they're decisive. He's already doing that at a very young age. So I just think that and also Jimmy made repeated mistakes, the same mistake over and over and over again. So and I know people that have worked with both quarterbacks, and they'll swear to you that Lance is really high end as far as the way he sees the game, and he won't make repeated mistakes. He'll make the mistake, he'll correct it, he'll move on. He won't keep making the same mistake.
Wow. Larry Krueger, Guru, right here on 95.7 The Game. We got you locked and loaded until 3 p.m. Coming up at 1 p.m., we'll be joined by NFL insider and Sirius XM host Adam Kaplan. I got a confession, Larry.
What's that? What do you got?
I am not a guy that runs around town calling everybody racist or this or that.
Right.
Because it's heavy. And if you don't know somebody, you got to be very careful. You got to tread lightly. And where I'm going with this is Kyle Shanahan, I was focused on not looking at Deshaun Watson, who on the biggest stage, went up against the best, almost NFL defenses with Bama and had great showings. Why wasn't he attractive to a guy like Kyle? Why wasn't Patrick Mahomes attractive to a guy like Kyle? And this was on Jimmy's worst day. And then I forgot about the RG3 days, but I do remember in that draft as Daddy and Kyle, to me, I'll put them in there. I've never seen a guy give the keys to the franchise in RG3 and yet go draft his backup in Kirk Cousins. So to me, that was mixed signals. I took it as maybe that's more of their cup of tea. So there were some times, hard conversations with myself, not he doesn't like the black quarterback, but maybe he's against the mobile quarterback, because as frustrating as it got on Jimmy's bad day, I was like, why doesn't the guru of play calling appreciate that? And then bam, out of nowhere, and I apologize to him on air, he goes and gets this kid. So I'm like, he's going to be Forrest Gump. So the leg game from Trey Lance, is he a runner? Sterling was telling me yesterday at practice he kept it and went 65 yards. Can Niner fans, are we going to see that on display? Not in the preseason game Friday, but just in his career. That's what I want to see. Give me that facet to your game, too.
There's a difference between a running quarterback and a mobile quarterback. Michael Vick, I think, was a running quarterback. He had a huge arm, but he was a running quarterback.
Oh, my gosh.
I think Lamar Jackson is a running quarterback.
And I'm out on him.
He's one of the greatest open field runners in the league.
But how about his throwing, Larry? It doesn't equal. It's different.
Steve McNair was a mobile quarterback.
That's what I'm talking about.
Patrick Mahomes is a mobile quarterback. Josh Allen is a mobile quarterback.
That's what I'm talking
And
about, Larry.
That's what I think. I think Lance is not a running quarterback. He's a mobile quarterback. You don't want to necessarily have him run, but you can have, he's got mobility. He can scramble. But this idea that you're going to drop him back to pass and then he's just going to take off. Now, he did run for 1,100 yards, in his career at North Dakota State, so he can run. But to me, he's not a guy who's running to run, Goo. He's a guy who's running to get to an open space with his eyes peeled down the field to make that deep throw.
Right. I love it.
And I think there's a subtle difference.
Kind of like Aaron Rodgers.
He's got, Rodgers doesn't have the mobility that Lance has, but yeah, I mean, the ability to move within the pocket.
It's everything,
but
Larry.
the idea is I'm using my arm to throw it down the field. I think the good comparisons is Mahomes.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying he's going to be Mahomes, but I think that's the comparison. I think that's the kind of player he is. Is Mahomes a runner? Well, yeah, he can. And if you give him a lane, he's going to take it. But really what Mahomes tries to do is he just tries to get away, get to an open space, buy himself a few more seconds, and let Tyreek Hill free himself up. He's not going to have Hill this year, so that's a big adjustment for him. But I think Lance is going to be that kind of quarterback.
It's 12:45 on a beautiful Wednesday, Larry, and we talked about this earlier in the week, and I'm going to run it by Adam. Again, the Niners doing right or not doing right by Jimmy Garoppolo, but as every day goes by and week one of the preseason is upon us, I'm just seeing a situation, Larry, to where the Rams are Seattle, and I just keep throwing the Rams there because I can't just get past this elbow issue with Stafford. Like, if you do release him and it comes to that, I mean, at that juncture, does Jimmy scare you in both those places?
Well, I mean,
if he scared you, he would still be in the uniform.
Yeah, he's the same guy, but he's always, I mean, you don't want to hand a guy in your division. I mean, who knows the most about your scheme? The quarterback and the middle backer. So in an ideal world, I don't want my quarterback or middle backer going to my division rivals, period, regardless of their strengths or weaknesses as a player.
Now, you can control that up until the 30th, and then it's a wrap.
Right. So maybe that's what this whole thing's about. Maybe it's not about, it's about making sure that you can hand deliver Jimmy to a Detroit or a New York Giants, or maybe in a better scenario, an AFC team like the Browns, as opposed to cutting him loose, letting him go to Seattle, letting him go to the Rams, facing him twice a season. I mean, Garoppolo's got some good traits. This guy's been to the NFC Championship game a few times. He's been to a Super Bowl.
And had to leave.
It's not like he's got terrible traits, and those teams have some. I mean, I think Seattle's got a pretty nice run game, to be honest, and I think the Rams have a lot of good traits. I mean, the defending Super Bowl champion. The last thing you want to do is hand them Garoppolo. But do you fear it? I don't think that's the right word. I don't think they fear him in either spot.
We're going to go out to Redwood City here in a second because Austin wants to talk about my comparison to Trey Lance and McNabb. But before we grab them, am I holding Donovan McNabb in too high of a regard? Dude was a badass quarterback, got to multiple NFC championship games. Was he perfect? No. But I look at the build of Trey Lance. That's who he reminds me of. So maybe you can be the Donovan McNabb that got it done. But when I say McNabb to you, I mean, what goes through your mind?
What goes through my mind is that when I was in spring training with a bunch of my buddies a bunch of years ago, we went to some bar club, and McNabb and his buddies were sitting at the next table, and my buddy went up to McNabb and started talking to him. Next thing we know, we push our tables together, and McNabb bought drinks for literally like 18 people and covered the tab.
That's what I'm talking about.
I mean, Gru, we're talking about 2.5 hours of drinking.
No, I've been there.
And when the bill came,
I would have left.
Donovan's like, I'll take that. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Dapped us all up and went on his business. I mean, cool, really cool guy. So
but the quarterback, do you respect
I can't
his
separate
portfolio?
That. Once you buy me 6 or 7 drinks,
so you're on the train.
I'm a McNabb fan.
Let's go out to Redwood City. Welcome Austin to the program. What's up, A?
What's up? Hey, here's what I got with Donovan McNabb. I feel like Trey Lance, he's a big guy. And I feel like he can be a Donovan McNabb only if it depends on our receivers. If they can get downfield, if they can come out to break. He's sketchy still in that category. And also, I feel like he could be a Dante Culpepper once he settled down and throw 8 to 10 yards for that first down, and then that deep ball, it'll speak for itself. That's all I got.
Minus the Havasu. And
look at you. Yeah, look at you. No, that's real. Yeah, we keep it real 12-3. Yeah.
I to me, Josh Allen's a great comp. Look at Josh Allen.
He's so good.
He was like a 56% completion guy at Wyoming. He came into the NFL. I don't have his numbers in front of me, but I think he was like 50% or close to it.
His accuracy on the run is immaculate.
Well,
it's
now,
almost better than
now
when
it
he's
is.
just sitting back there. Now it is.
It's year.
Like
what is it?
stallion.
What is it? Year 3? What is it? Year 3 for him? Josh. I see a lot of Josh Allen. Big, strong guy.
That's exciting, man.
Yeah, no question.
And then it might not manifest in year 1. Russell, Ben, even A-Rod weren't who they are later on in their career in year 1.
How about Alex Smith? Alex Smith was like totally dysfunctional, nothing quarterback who couldn't avoid sacks. He was on a bad team, and he became this incredibly cerebral, really smart quarterback. He never got it done in the Super Bowl, never won a Super Bowl.
An NFC Championship game without completing a pass to a wide receiver.
I mean,
oh my God.
Alex Smith, though, with Kansas City had evolved into a far greater entity.
He was throwing for 4K.
Oh,
forget the TV.
Man, the early days of the Niners, he was terrible. I mean, really bad. So, I mean, I think it's going to be a situation where just people have to show a little bit of patience here, and that's.
But you're ready-made to win, though, Larry.
You got a ready-made team, and he doesn't have to. That's why I think you have him on a pitch count this year. The surrounding cast, this is Super Bowl caliber roster that Trey Lance is inheriting. Too.
Jimmy was on technically a pitch count.
Yeah, I mean, but I would have Trey early in his career on a pitch count. You don't want him throwing it 40 times. You don't want him throwing it 30 times. I'd like to have him throw it like 15 to 25 times max. Get him on a pitch count, run the ball, play action pass, play defense. I think that's your equation to win.
You know what? I got out of here yesterday. I was in the caddy. I was driving home. Like I had to tell you what I drive, but I re-upped. It was a 2005. Now I got a 19.
Look at you.
XTS.
Look at you.
But the gas is killing me. It's coming down a little bit. But Mike McDaniel, who is he? What is he? Because he was relatively unknown to me. And I'm watching NFL Network, our little show,
right?
Because they're doing Inside Training Camp. And how much emphasis did he have on Jimmy and what he became and what he didn't? Like, was he the guru behind Kyle? Like, who was Mike McDaniel to Larry Krueger?
I mean, a very innovative, very intelligent, think outside the box, creative offensive mind, passing game coordinator. They'll miss him, but it's Kyle's offense.
Okay.
You know, Kyle's the guy, and everything stems from him. As long as you have Kyle, I think you're going to be fine. But it is a good question because you do have a lot of new offensive coaches. You got a new passing game coordinator.
What is Greasy's role?
He's the quarterback coach. And, you know, I think Greasy is probably going to help him. He's going to help Trey deal with life as much as playing quarterback, knowing, how to play the position on the field, off the field, but in the community. Like sometimes you got to say no. Sometimes you got to put up walls around you. Sometimes you got to use your handlers to keep people at bay. Your time is important. How you divvy it up is vital. So I think a lot of the things that, go into playing quarterback in the NFL off the field, I think Greasy's going to be a huge asset.
That's big. Yeah, those were things I was thinking about. Like, man, speaking of McDaniel, he parlayed his success here, if you want to deem it that. Obviously, Miami did, into a head coaching job. And I'm like, man, has had a loss. But then you talk about Greasy, and you hit it out the park with that one about life, too, off the field with Trey Lance. So
I think McDaniel's going to be in for an interesting situation because I'm not a Tua guy. Are you a Tua guy?
No, I was a Tua guy at Alabama. And Larry, I mean this, my comps, as I call them, I thought he was the next Steve Young. But that hip was almost Bo Jackson-like. And now his arm is just, I call it rag. There's nothing on it. And Tyreek Hill, I go get the money, enjoy it. I just don't see them making the playoffs, man. And they got talent. He is the weak link.
Jimmy to Miami might be viable because
hadn't thought of that.
I mean, anybody who wagered at anything on the Dolphins last few years, when Tua came out and Fitzpatrick went in, if you had money on the Dolphins, you were partying. Seriously, because Fitzpatrick was better than Tua pretty consistently.
Put some respect on his name, Larry. Fitzmagic.
I bet the Dolphins one night against the Raiders, Tua was struggling. They went to Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick came off the bench and won the game.
Man.
So, I mean, it's just I'm questioning Tua. I don't see the same accuracy I saw at Bama. He's also his
But
body's
the
kind of
injury
beaten
was
up.
a serious injury, right?
Yeah, he's had
so he's lucky
a
to even
couple
be
serious
playing.
injuries.
So I'm just out. Maybe I don't know why I'm lumping him in with Lamar Jackson. Like I don't think he reads it fast enough. And I hate saying that about Lamar, man.
Well, I'll say this: he's got nothing. He can't blame his weapons this year. Miami's stacked, man. Miami's got all kinds of weapons. They added Tyreek. They added Raheem. They've got weapons.
So when you talk about McDaniel,
Waddle,
and what Kyle was dealing with Jimmy, he got him to greater heights, even with his shortcomings. You wonder if McDaniel has some of that magic in him. Because I always say the quarterback, tell me what you think is an extension of the head coach. So if this guy's a Jedi, talking about McDaniel, maybe he can help Tua be the best version of himself.
He didn't pick Tua, and I think that was probably one of the contingencies for him getting that gig was, hey, guess what? We're going with Tua. Are you comfortable with that? Yeah, I want the job. Okay, you're hired. But I don't think that's his guy, and I don't think that would have been his choice.
Let's go out to Berkeley before we break here. Nick, welcome to the program.
Hey, you guys, man, I think, first of all, Seattle ain't got nothing coming, man. Because Steve Carroll's a rah-rah coach, and his winning pattern is rah-rah, will go up, win, and then flatline. Just like he did at USC. He got nothing coming, man. And let me tell you something. The teams ain't going to be able to just sit there and put their ears back and try to rush because knowing that Garoppolo can't run, because Trey going to take off at the end of the games, and that's going to kill the clock. All we need is a couple more first downs, and we got a couple more Super Bowl titles. You know what I mean? Our defense, guys, if we get a 10-point lead again, our defense got the hold. But I think our defense is about to put the smack down on everybody this year, and they're not going to be scoring because Shavarius is a sick corner, man.
He's hurt right now. Do you see that? Do you guys see that? Travarius is going to be out for a little bit. They just signed.
Now, when
Ken
you say a
Crawley.
little bit, week one, and will he be available?
Well, yeah, I think he should be there week one.
Okay.
But they signed Ken Crawley to a 1-year deal. He's Charvarius got a muscle strain.
Yeah.
He could miss a couple weeks.
All right. But they'll be able to navigate.
But they're loaded on the corner as far as they got a lot of bodies.
You said that secondary.
Yeah, great depth.
And I think Jimmy Ward has the opportunity, and this wouldn't be a shocker. You tell me if you think so. He's got a chance to be a Pro Bowler. That's how highly I think.
Charvarius?
Jimmy Ward.
Oh, Jimmy Ward. Yeah,
he is. I'm telling you, man.
He's the leader of the team.
He's of the team.
Yeah. Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, he's the first guy in stretch. He's the first guy in the sprints. He's in the best shape.
Captain. Then
I would say, if you said to me, who's the leader of this team, I would say it's Jimmy Ward.
Wow. I'm not mad at that. And I went out there for that one practice. I like what I saw, but I like what I saw last year, even in the playoffs. He was the one pointing everything out. When we get back, we're going to be joined by Adam Kaplan, Sirius XM NFL host, insider. That's all sponsored by Valley Transportation Authority.
Looking for a
On this thing from the gate. I mean, you had the power to do it yourself. Goodell, add them and suspend them as long as you want, fine them. You didn't do that. You played this dog and pony show, and he got 6 games. We know that Goodell wants more, and I believe they want more money. What do you make of how it's the ball's in another judge's court to come down and basically tell Deshaun Watson he's gone for a year? What do you make of this?
Yeah, well, Darryl, that's what they agreed to with the collective bargaining agreement, to have Roger Goodell either hear the case. He's a hearing officer. He could hand off to his designee. And that's what he did with an attorney. So with Harvey. So the fact of the matter is, when you look at this situation, the league, and I could tell you from talking to people close to the situation, as late last summer, they were thinking a year then, because they felt that they had enough information to feel like this is pretty bad what's been alleged. And that's where they're at now. Look, the commissioner was on the record this week around the sale of the Broncos, as you know, and this is kind of where we're at here. It's unfortunate. I'll visit the Browns next week. It's unfortunate. It's not like they didn't know this was possible. It just delays the process, because Watson's side is going to do what I've dealt with this stuff in my career in terms of higher courts, and higher courts typically do not get involved with collective bargaining. They typically won't take the case. So it's bad. I mean, the Browns season, unfortunately, comes down to how many games Watson's going to be available, if any, and that's unfortunate, because it doesn't look good that he's going to be able to play this season. If
let's say the commissioner, let's say they decide a year or maybe even longer. I mean, are we going to see a countersuit, a lawsuit by the players' union? To me, when the commissioner used words like egregious and predatory behavior, that in a lot of ways maybe escalates the pushback from the union. What do you think the reaction to a growing suspension will be from the players' union?
Yeah, Larry, there's no question that's what I was alluding to. They're going to want to take it to federal court. This is what the league, the NFLPA, and Jeffrey Kessler, their attorney, who's won a lot against the NFL. Once they see what it's going to be, and again, most reasonable people believe that because of the designee, it's someone who has a relationship with the league, it's going to be a year, that they'll try to fight it and try to take it to another court. But again, this is what I was alluding to earlier. Upper federal court does not typically get involved with collectively bargaining situations. They just don't like getting involved in it, because both sides agree to the process and they don't like to intervene in that process.
It's Steiny and Guru right here on 95.7 The Game. We're joined by Sirius XM NFL host and insider Adam Kaplan. Adam, you mentioned the Niners, and Larry's been at practice, and I keep telling the people, to me, and I'm not being a homer, what Trey Lance is going to become following Jimmy G is one of the biggest stories, if not the biggest story of this NFL season. And there's been whispers, Adam, that, his practices haven't been crisp. What do you make of Trey Lance following Jimmy Garoppolo and just how good he can be?
Yeah, so this is an interesting conversation I had with someone privately last week. I was watching practice, and I saw the Bears people I know who work there, and said, man, has he been this off? Because the practice I was at, you saw some good throws, but you saw him with the mechanics, the upper body mechanics tape was a challenge. Accuracy is a challenge. So look, he's up and down in most practices. He's a typical young quarterback in needs development. But one person said to me, I thought this was a great note, that Kyle Shanahan, the play caller and the head coach, knows exactly what he's got with Lance. They'll design plays around him that he knows he can make early on this season. And then once they feel he gets to a certain point where they think he's progressing, they'll give him more. They'll give him more of the passing and more downfield throws. But you watch him and you shake your head sometimes because the ball sails on him. Doesn't have a lot of control of his deep ball. Now I'll tell you this: when he's on, Jimmy Garoppolo can't make throws like Trey Lance. That's one of the differences. Now, I've also likened Trey Lance to Josh Allen, his first year in 2018 with the Bills, where he's widely inaccurate. In fact, it came from college. If you remember, Josh Allen had real issues at Wyoming, a lower level of college football, kind of like Trey Lance. And with great coaching, Brian Daboll and Ken Dorsey really helped him become accurate. And look, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I have a lot of faith in Kyle Shanahan, Brian Griese, the first-year quarterback coach, to figure out a way to get him to make throws they know he can make, and so they can move forward. Because, you look at what they've got on offense with the reemergence of Ayuk, who not only was he great the day I was there, what I'm told is he dominates every practice. He's all the way back. I mean, Debo's great, obviously. Juwan Jennings is a really good third receiver. Kittle's great. They've got an excellent running game. They're very deep at that position. It's just, can they get Lance functional enough that he's not a detriment, that he's a plus? That's going to take some time.
It's such an interesting offseason for the Niners because they bypassed using that Garoppolo money to reinvest in the roster. A lot of people wanted to see that. So they're holding Garoppolo. They don't have that money to play with right now. But once that contract's off the books, Adam, Niners are going to be top 5 in the league in cap space. And there's a lot of speculation that maybe they won't wait around until next offseason to, use that money on Ayuk or Bosa, that they may actually use that ample cap room to get active during the trade deadline if there's a player that frees himself up in October or at least is on the market in October for a cheap return because he's headed towards free agency. I know it's a tough question, but what players in your mind fit that description that may be in that October trade market that the 49ers may be able to pounce on if they think there's a fit there?
Well, first of all, corner is definitely an issue. With Ward out and talking to them, they thought he's been great. Charvarius Ward, who came over from the Chiefs, is going to be one of their starting outside corners. Now he's going to be down for about 2 weeks. They just don't have enough depth. That's the one position. If you graded their roster, and interior of the offensive line is also a question mark. But to me, the lack of cornerback depth is a problem. That would be one position. Larry, to be honest with you, I'd be surprised if Garoppolo made it that far. I mean, I'm not ruling anything out. Particularly the way these things work is the Niners do not, because when you look at his contract, there's no guaranteed money left in it. Now they're going to want to move him as soon as possible. It's kind of weird, as going to practice, he's thrown on the side. It's just very strange. But both sides, they're comfortable with the situation. You're going to want to move that cash. Now, no one's reported back in March they would have had no problem moving him had he not had that surgery. In fact, I think he would have went to Carolina or 2 other 3 teams. There were like 3 teams I definitely thought would be in it. Carolina would have been one of them. But the shoulder surgery took any team out of it. But in the end, Larry, to move this forward here, they kind of know the situation that they've been in. Nobody wants him right now because of the contract. He's healthy enough to throw. We know that. And they might as well just wait to see if any team loses a quarterback. Now, we're so far into this now. For anyone saying it's not fair to Garoppolo, what we need to understand is there's no starting jobs open. He's not going anywhere to be a starter right now. So they might as well just wait and see if a team loses a quarterback and go from there.
That's interesting, Adam, because I was telling Larry and the listeners, man, they had the postseason presser and Kyle and John said we're going to do right by Jimmy, and I'm looking around like, man, there are no starting jobs. Release him. I know it's a business, but you said it. He won't be a starter, so I'm kind of stunned by that. Let me ask you about another team in the Niners division.
I would say, by the way, Seattle. Well, they're saying it's a 2-man race in Seattle, but if the Niners cut Garoppolo, that could change something.
Okay, yeah, because I'm like Geno Smith or Drew Lock. Are you really doing that?
Yeah.
What do you make of these reports with Stafford? Because I was saying, could Jimmy go there if he got released in that elbow? Is this something much of nothing, or is this something the Rams are really behind closed doors, worried about?
No, it's interesting. So I was there last week, and he actually hurt. That's when he hurt the elbow. In fact, they shut him down after the first 15 minutes, and they're taking it easy with it. Like John Walford, who's his backup, he reminds me. I don't know if you guys know who Gardner Minshew is. He's a backup quarterback with the Eagles who did great as a rookie in 2019 with the Jaguars. Won 7 Jaguars. Then he's a pretty good backup quarterback. He's got a little bit better arm. He's been in the system for 3 years. They really like him. Now I don't see that. They seem to be pretty set with Walford, and they're not talking to someone privately there, they don't seem to be overly concerned. It's just a little bit of a different elbow injury. It's not normal. He just gets really sore. Now, if something comes out in the next week that they think it's a little worse than they're seeing now, that changes it in terms of adding another quarterback potentially. But I could tell you from talking to them, they like this kid Wofford, who's been with them since 2019.
He won a playoff game, at one point. So obviously he's got some ability. He's a little diminutive.
Yep.
Let me ask you, I was looking at some of the film from around the league last night. Simi Fehoko, the former Stanford receiver, is in Dallas's camp, and he burned Diggs on a deep ball, and he ran in the 4.3s. I really like Fehoko. Who's the team that, if you're the 49ers in the conference, that scares you the most? Because Rams are coming off the Super Bowl, and Green Bay lost Devontae, Dallas lost Cooper, Tampa, but Brady's so old. Who's the number one contender if standing between the Niners and the bowl?
Well, other than what outside the division, obviously the Rams would, because of Stafford, and look, they won the Super Bowl. They've got some injuries they got to get through, but the team that I'm in, Tampa guys, I would say the Buccaneers. In fact, talking to them, one person said to me who would know, he's at every practice, says he thinks this defense is better than the Super Bowl defense from 2 years ago.
Wow,
they are super deep and super loaded. They got Akeem Hicks, formerly the Bears, who probably going to be upgrade over Ndamukong Suh. Super deep at every position. The only issue they have is in the interior of their offensive line. They lost Ryan Jensen, their starting center for the season. They're going to go with a rookie, so that's a little bit challenging. They remember Ali Marpet suddenly retired out of nowhere. That shocked them. So they're going to have 2 offensive line changes. But other than that, they're really good. And the team that last year made the playoffs, so they weren't very good. They shouldn't have gotten in, but they limped in, as the Eagles. Their roster, they added 7 impact players this offseason, including A.J. Brown. They're super deep. But they've got one issue. It's the quarterback. You just don't know how good Jalen Hurts is going to be. But they're going to be good, folks. They're going to win the NFC East. And they're, if we rank the teams, the best, the 7 teams right now, if we had to pick the playoffs, were the Niners, the Rams, the Bucks, the Packers, Philly. And then after that, you're going to find a couple sleep. Like Arizona, the problem was without DeAndre Hopkins for 6 weeks. That would worry me. Where the Saints have had a really good offseason. And the sleeper teams for me are the Carolina Panthers. If Baker Mayfield could give them some stability at quarterback, the roster's really good. I visit them next week in New England. And the Vikings are sort of that sleeping, that team now. They're going to throw the ball more. They're going to have that offensive mentality for the first time in over a decade. They're going to have someone. They're going to have a head coach who's going to call the plays on offense, and Kevin O'Connell's a smart guy. It's another team that could push for a wild card.
It's Larry and Guru right here on 95.7 The Game. We're joined by SiriusXM NFL host and insider Adam Kaplan. Adam, I may be on an island all by myself, but last year we saw Patrick Mahomes. I mean, more times than not, it was the first time I said, "Oh man, what's going on upstairs?" That's a head scratcher. What's this decision? I can't believe it. And now, they went in the playoffs, lost at home, but he loses Tyreek Hill. Are you still all in on Patrick Mahomes? Because I'm a bit concerned. Have we seen the best of him, as crazy as that may sound?
All right, quick couple things here. So, yeah, it was the second half of the championship game against the Bengals. I don't know I've never seen him play like that. It was, I would tell you, no one close to the Chiefs could figure it out. He just didn't process very well. He struggled. But, no, you make a great point. In fact, I saw Tyreek Hill today with the Dolphins. I saw him turn Carlton Davis, the corner for the Bucs, is really good inside out. It's pretty amazing. But receiver by committee. They really love Sky Moore as a second-round pick out of Western Michigan, who's had an excellent camp. But they're going to go with Marquez Valdez-Scantling, paying him $10 million a year. It's more of a 2-year structure, but they're going to go to the committee. He's a game changer. He's one of the top 3 receivers. And he's that guy in the scramble drill. He knows when the pocket breaks down, Mahomes rolls right, he'll go find the football. That's hard to find guys like that. And Mahomes is still great. I don't think they're going to be as good. I don't know. We're not picking right now the Super Bowl teams to get to the Super Bowl, but I'm not as bullish on them. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm already picking Denver for that division. I'm probably in the minority there, but getting a real quarterback going from Drew Lock to Russell Wilson is a big thing for the Broncos. You'll see that this season.
Give me a quick thought on the Raiders. The New England influence, both head coach. I've heard great things about their camp. They added Chandler Jones. They obviously added Devontae Adams. They're to me kind of a wild card team with kind of a porous offensive line. But how do you see the Raiders? What are you hearing about the Raiders and with their New England influence?
Yeah, Larry, they're big into discipline. It's very quiet. The good thing, it's a quiet camp because after what happened with John Gruden and his situation off the field, they brought some stability. They feel good about it. And you're absolutely right, Larry, about their offensive line. This is a bottom 5 offensive line. They're trying to figure some things out there. Other than Colton Miller, their left tackle is very good. Andre James is okay. The guards are in flux. Right tackle is got a couple guys competing for it. There'll be a run-based offense. They'll with Devontae Adams now, when they throw it, it's going to go to him or Darren Waller. Their defense under Patrick Graham was an excellent D coordinator. They're not very good at corner. In fact, their secondary is not very good at all. And Chandler Jones, who you mentioned, and Crosby will be great. Will be great pass rushers, but the secondary is a little bit shaky. Look, I give them credit. I cannot, with all that happened and off the field with Gruden and Henry Ruggs, as we all know. So it's a credit to their players and Rich Bisaccia, who really should have been their head coach. It's another story for another time how that went down. But they'll be okay. I mean, I think it could be a 9 or 10 win team, but they're not going to go anywhere with that defense. I just don't think there's enough talent.
He's Adam Kaplan, Sirius XM NFL host and insider. We're excited. I know you're excited about the season. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot, Adam.
All right, guys. Thank you.
He's good, man. He's good.
Yeah,
he can spit it out.
And what about my Mahomes take? I really think something's up, man. He again, I'm not saying
good last year,
and he wasn't. There were some he's taken a lot of hits, and it started in that Super Bowl against Tampa. He was out there, Mark Jackson. I'm a big fan, fighting for my life. He took a lot of hits, and I'm just saying, not CTE, Larry, but I mean, when you get hit like that, punch drunk. And what I saw last year and in the playoff game, just his decision making, I had him up there as he was Steph Curry of the quarterbacks, but I'm worried. And now that you don't have your toy, which I feel like disguised a lot in Tyreek Hill, I feel like the chickens are going to come home to roost a little bit. So I'm watching Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I mean, I think he benefited from Tyreek. I like Sky Moore, but I mean Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Juju Smith-Schuster.
Okay,
you got McCole Hardman there. You got Scott. You got Sky Moore. But now you're going to be able to double Kelsey.
And
he's
that's
a year
all
older.
I'm talking about, man.
I've never quite understood the value of Clyde Edwards-Helaire as a back. I think that line's just okay. I don't know. I personally, I think Kansas City may take a little bit more of a. I think Mahomes is going to miss Tyreek badly.
And that's it. And if something is going on when Tyreek was there with Mahomes, that'll be on display more now that you don't have that option. And again, I don't bring race up all the time. I got a little saying, Larry, I'm Malcolm X when I need to be, when I feel like something's off or somebody's getting done wrong or shortchanged. There was some insider anonymous reports about the street ball thing with Mahomes, and a lot of people, didn't like that terminology, but I kind of got what they were saying in the sense that he will do the Fran Tarkenton and had that the luxury of Tyreek Hill, the passing in the playoff game, 10 yards to our boy Tyreek, and he takes it to the house. Like, that's off the table. But you said something about the Raiders. Dude, they got offense. I mean, now you got the weapons. Raiders can weaponry. The tight end.
You got the best. You may have one of the best tight ends. Okay. You got one of the best receivers.
I like Jacobs.
Jacobs is a good back. They said this week they're not going to trade him, but man, that offensive line is bad. Is really bad.
And it used to be their strength.
I know. And this team had Art Shell and Gene Upshaw going way, 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 way back. But I mean, right now, that pick of Leatherwood, and then is he going to start at right tackle? Can he start at right tackle? To me, if the Raiders can find a solution on that offensive line, if their O-line can do anything, they're going to be a force, because I think their secondary is improved. I think it's better than Kaplan thinks.
But it's interesting that you brought up Kaplan, because I got Nick Carasillo. People will say, who was that? But he's one of our YouTubers. He said, great to hear a non-homer telling the truth. The guy, Trey Lance, side arms, short arms, every throw I've seen from him. Now, we don't know how much Nick has seen from Trey, but when you hear that, do you say, come on, that's hogwash?
he sidearms it.
Yeah.
I don't see that. I mean, Trey Lance has barely played, and so you're going to see some inconsistency just because he's a young player who hasn't repped it. But as far as the macro view,
okay,
I think he's going to be a real good player over time. But people are going to have to show some patience. They have to show some patience, and it may not be, he may not come out firing. He may look good in week 1, bad in week 2. I mean, I think it's going to be an up and down type season for Trey. I think there'll be some inconsistency, but overall, I think the arrow's pointed way up. And anybody who's got really strong negative takes on Lance, you got to wonder what their motivation is, because he hasn't played enough to say, tons of great or terrible things about him.
You know what's funny is producer Nia and E were talking in the green room today, and it's not just Trey Lance. It's like, and I get social media and I keep throwing that out there, but everybody's starving for the shield, and I get it. We all want football, but now I'm hearing reports that Russell Wilson's having not the best camp.
I saw that today too.
What's my guy in New England?
Mac Jones.
I mean, what are we, Larry? Until it really counts,
Mike Jones.
only a fool would react to practice. I'm going Allen Iverson, Larry. We're talking practice.
Seriously. I mean, and it's, you know what it is? It's
hunger.
It's that baseball doesn't grip people, doesn't hold people. So the NFL has passed baseball by, and it's not here yet. And so it's like we want to attach, hard takes and real opinions to all this stuff in practice. And you got practice stats. I was doing a thing this morning with Rich Ornberger on his show in San Diego, and he's a former NFL player.
Okay.
And I'm like, Rich, is there anything more comical than camp stats? And he's like, I totally agree. I've seen meetings where, coaches say, go at this guy, or we're going to try this, we're going to do this. And the stats, they're just not worth the paper they're printed on.
Yeah. And I'll say this because I said it to Adam and yourself. Larry, how excited are you? Because again, at the station, it's Bonte Shasky. They grown up here. I know, take this job away, they're diehard Niners, and I had you at Walter Creek Dub C, but you're that ilk. You lit this your team.
Yeah.
How excited? Forget the job. How excited are you that the Niners are here and they're back, and we're a few weeks away from go time?
Well, I'm just excited.
You care.
Yeah, and I'm excited that the 49ers have some, they have the structure in place there. I mean, they went from Harbaugh to, Tom Sula to Chip Kelly talking fast. I mean, they were lost. Now, at least with Lynch has put together a really nice roster. Shanahan's I think a well above average NFL head coach, and they've got a lot of top tier talent sprinkled around and a pretty deep roster. So yeah, I'm excited. I think this is going to be, this, whether they win it this year or not, 49ers are a Super Bowl contender. They're in their window.
Yeah, and I'm going to ask you this because I'm a big Tupac fan. He has a great song, Only God Can Judge, Larry. And some Bay Area favorites, former athletes, got into a little trouble off the field. And then we had one baseball player with a phone in his pocket. I just want to get your thoughts and the thoughts from the listeners, because to me, I'll save it, but we got to get into it. You're listening to Larry Krueger and Daryle the Guru Johnson right here on 95.7 The Game.
Don't miss. back to Steiny and Guru on 95.7 The Game.
No, Steiny, he is in Canada with much-needed vacation. I hope my man's having a good time. But in the meantime, it's Larry Krueger and myself. Man, we're going up to 86 minutes left. The time flies, man.
Time is flying. These are fast shows, man.
I'll tell you what. During the break, I just found out, and I'm not mad, Deshaun Watson will be starting Friday in a preseason game. And I'm like, oh, wow. I thought maybe week 7 he would start because the 6-game suspension, which looks like it's going to be, Larry, for the whole season. But do you find that odd that he's starting? Well, I guess he got all the cases settled, and now they're reviewing,
right?
How we're gonna. So nothing's outstanding, But it's gonna be weird.
I mean, it is weird. It is weird, especially since what he's been, accused of.
I'll never understand.
It's just it's been all over the place, and 22 women, 24 women, all the talk about the settlements. Now you've got the suspension. Now you got the league saying, you know what? We're going to increase that suspension. You got the commissioner, basically inflaming the situation, saying that his acts were egregious and calling the behavior predatory. The union's going to push back hard on that. So to me, it's a 3-ring circus. But
circus
innocent
is the right
until
word.
Proven guilty, I guess, as far as the NFL is concerned. I mean, they're going to let him. They're going to probably ban him for the year, I would imagine. But who knows? Maybe it'll be 12 games. Maybe it'll be less. But it is the optics, as they say, very odd.
Yeah. And again, you could say, people could say, Guru, who are you? And I just said Tupac, only God can judge. We don't know what happened, Larry, but the fact that you put yourself in these situations and went to IG when you got all the money in the world to get a masseuse, if your thoughts were in the right place, it's still weird. That's the word I use. But you're not going, you went to trial, 2 grand jury said nothing here. So from that standpoint, you're a free man. And I'll tell you what, just about the NFL, if we get a decision and it's not the whole season, well, the NFL, this will be over, right? It'll be whatever they come with this time. There'll be you only gave him 6 more. No, you got to go. When are we done?
Well, I mean, the stain is on you no matter what. I mean, Kareem Hunt he was accused of domestic violence. I believe there was some serious evidence there, but if you go and look at it, he was never formally charged.
Ezekiel Elliott a few years back too, who got 6 games, and the woman recanted her story.
Unfortunately, these stains last forever, whether you're formally charged or not. If you said to the average football fan, domestic violence, does Kareem Hunt have an issue? They would say, yeah, he does. But the charges were dropped. So, you know what I'm saying? It's it's just a complicated situation because charges do get dropped. There are, settlements. People do make decisions for other reasons, and you just never know which direction it's going to go.
You know what, Larry? I want to get your thoughts on a play that happened in Arizona last night in a Major League Baseball game. But before we do, let's go out to Alameda and welcome Carlito to the program. What's up, Carlito?
Hello, gentlemen. Larry, you've been knocking it out of the park. I agree with you. I think the 49ers have the structure. I think the main question is going to be, will Lance have the durability? And Larry, I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Yep.
I'm going to ask you, do you think the Steiny and Guru show is the best show in the Bay Area right now? Because I personally do. Thank you, guys.
Well, I'll say this as somebody who has lived. Look at that!
I love that guy. Yeah.
You guys related?
Yeah.
Because I used to work at 2:00, so I would oftentimes catch you guys on the drive, and I loved your show.
Like, do you mean that, or see? I strike you as the type like
I'm listening to what I want to listen to, and you guys crack me up. I think you and Steiny have a great rapport, and I love when you guys. I love when you guys go back and forth and start arguing with each other. And I've known Steiny forever.
Yeah.
I've known you just on Facebook for the last few years. But I love your guys' show. I always thought your show was good.
I appreciate that. Now we got to get to the nitty gritty. And I want to know, before I even tell you what happened, you already know what happened. The world knows what happened. But I'm a fan of this team. The black and gold. The Pittsburgh Pirates last night are playing the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Right.
I'm watching this game, right? I got my laptops up. I'm watching the Giants. And Rodolfo Castro, he's trying to make a name for himself. They called him up just last night. So he's been up before, gone down. They called him up last night. He's going first to third, Larry Krueger. This is incredible. First to third, head first slide into third base. He's safe. But all the meanwhile, while he dives, his phone pops out of his back pocket and is in the dirt. So he's safe, has no idea that he lost his phone. The ump tells him, hey, buddy, you dropped something. The phone's in the dirt. He picks it up, hands it to producer E's friend, who is the third baseman. Help me out, E. I forget his name. I should know the third
base coach, Mike Robello for the Pittsburgh
Mike
Pirates.
Robello, who we're going to see Friday as we go to the Giant game. I'm going with E. We're going to check the Pirates out and Robello.
Nice.
But he tries to hand it to Robello, the third base coach, and to Robello's credit, he's looking like, I'm paraphrasing, hell nah, without saying it, your phone? I ain't touching that. Almost like, no, you hold that kryptonite in your hand. Robello, eventually took the phone. But Larry, pretty soon and I'm judging my kids, me. I'm addicted to social media. Twitter has become my best friend. I mean, I'm sitting there sometimes like, where'd the weekend go? And I'm just scrolling through. Oh, this is interesting. I won't participate, but I'll just observe. But a baseball player, and he said, and this is why I'm upset, manager Derek Shelton said, oh, his heart was in the right place. These things happen. I would have sent him down. How does a Major League Baseball player go up to the plate with your phone in your back pocket? You're not in the game. Pete Rose would have never have done that.
I mean, it's just so embarrassing on so many levels.
For everybody.
You didn't even mention, by the way, the guy went in head first at third. Did he go in head first because he knew it was in his back pocket?
Who knows? I'm assuming so.
He probably
did. He got insurance with Apple? I'm assuming it was an iPhone.
I mean, if he had baseball players don't have front pockets, but if he had it in the front pocket, would he have slid on his butt? I mean, it was amazing watching that come out. And then it came out. He stands up on the third base bag. The umpire points down and is like, hey, bro, check out your phone's right there.
And he has it. People can't Twitch or YouTube. He had that look like
unbelievable.
Wow.
That's unbelievable. Then I got two questions. Okay. One, did he know he had it in there and that's why he slid head first? Because seriously, he may have. I would say, what do you think the ratio is of head first slides to sliding, on your butt? I would say it's probably 70-30 guys slide on their butt. It's pretty rare to see a guy slide headfirst. So to see a headfirst slide and then see the back pocket and here comes the phone makes you wonder if he knew he had the phone. So that's one. The second thing is, isn't there a penalty if you have electronic devices? Does he get suspended?
Obviously not. Altuve on line one. But go ahead.
Exactly. But I mean, isn't he breaking a rule about having electronic devices on the field? I thought that was like one of baseball's rules going back to the old Astros World Series cheating thing. So is he going to get suspended? Is he going to get fined?
He should have got sent. I'm saying he should have got sent down.
And the manager,
Shelton, you're
seriously.
To me.
I mean, how many people are lining up to call Tony La Russa old and out of touch? But
he fell asleep in the dugout, though. That was
true enough. But La Russa would have lost his S there.
Okay,
and you know what?
Right. Jim Leland would have broke it.
I'm with La Russa there. I'd be with La Russa. Come on, man. I mean, that is bad. I mean, that would be like. Well, I mean, that's almost like T.O. with the Sharpie. That's like T.O. with the Sharpie.
No, but that was a prop. He knew he was going to do it. I'll never forget watching that game. Is that a... Oh, my...
He busted out the Sharpie.
Joe Horn tried to do it, and good luck with that.
He hid the cell phone.
Larry, this is different because I'm with you. I got more than two questions. Baseball's a slow game. Was he in the dugout sneaking on IG? Was he sending text messages? And I got to tell you something. I am 50 years old, and I know young talent. I believe I do in all walks of life. I know young, good people. And our producer, Evan Giddings, have you heard him do play-by-play? He does. He did.
Yes, I have.
Okay. This dude's a star in the making. You too, Sterling. But I hold him in high regard. E, I don't mean to call you out, but when we talked about this story, he stepped into a trap. Because Evan, who played college baseball and high school baseball, got called up from JV to varsity. I don't want to steal your thunder, E. I told you I was going to call you out, and I kind of feel bad, but I don't, because I think you're going to be like disappointed. E, can you just tell us what happened on your first at bat from JV to varsity?
Yeah, so I got called up, was not expecting to get into the game, was, the 15th man on a 14-man roster. We were up 10 in the game. They threw me in late season, and I completely forgot that I had my cell phone in my back pocket. And as I'm standing in the right-handed batter's box, I just hear someone in the crowd go, "Is that his cell phone?" And I realized, oh no.
And what happened on the at-bat?
Oh, I took 3 down the middle and walked back to the dugout.
Oh, my God.
Are you kidding me?
Okay,
Walk
so
of shame.
here's the question. Here's the question. Because
I love you,
people
but
forget
damn.
all the time. People forget things. If that is you and you're going into pinch run and you got your cell phone in your back pocket, what would you do? I was thinking about what I would do. If I was one of those modern big leaguers who uses the pot holder now, have you seen the pot holder?
Right. Oh, they all have the mitts.
Yeah, mitten. I would try to slyly slide it out of my pocket into my pot holder mitten and just put it on the top of my hand. Because that's embarrassing, man. You're going to hand it to the third base coach, and there better be some kangaroo court fine. That fine's got to be fat.
And I'm not just sitting up here fat mouthing, like I'm a man. He would be sent down. And for the manager basically to have his back, it just really bothers me. And I'm thinking about, and who cares? But I'm telling you, it's my second time, Larry. I got a softball game tomorrow. I treat softball like it's the major league. If I had a wallet on my butt cheek, it wouldn't feel like I'm not in it to win it.
You're not wearing the Barry Bonds elbow pad, are you?
Jim Rome, I steal from this. I'm softball guy. I do the black under the eye. I got the dusty wristbands.
Tell me you don't go cup or anything, right?
No cup, because I'm outfield. I don't know. The family jewels.
If you were in the infield, you wear the cup?
Larry, I wouldn't be in the infield. They would call the game. I thought I was Sean Dunston back in the day. I got hit in the family jewels. That was it. I won't catch. I won't play any infield position. If they say the team, we lose, and you guys can throw whatever. I can't.
Do you wear the shield around your face?
No, I don't do the
shield. You get hit
I
in the
just
face?
do the eye black.
Is it slow pitch or fast pitch?
Slow pitch. I don't do fast pitch. And my stirrups are like Jackie, the yellow pirate yellow, all the way up.
You go all the way up.
See,
you're high socks.
I'm gonna film it tomorrow.
Okay, I got to see it.
But Larry,
will you steal? Are you going first to third, second to home?
I still got wheels, Larry. I still got wheels, and I got an arm. I can't wait to show it off tomorrow.
Do you hit the cutoff man or do you airmail the cutoff man?
I airmail the guy because I got an arm. It's going straight on the UPS.
You're freaking Dave Parker in the 79 All-Star game.
The Cobra. I can't wait for this tomorrow.
I interviewed the Cobra last year, by the way.
Why isn't he in the Hall of Fame?
I don't know, because he was the
cocaine
bad
scandal
man. I mean,
there was a lot of guys with the cocaine.
Yeah,
it was a hell of a drug.
We're like crackheads.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Cobra was incredible. Incredible at the A's, incredible at the Reds, incredible obviously with the We Are Family Pirates.
A good dude too.
And without the knee problems, he was incredible. He was the best player in baseball in the late 70s.
Man.
He really was.
You don't got to tell me.
78, 79.
And that throw in the All-Star game when the All-Star game was something. Man.
Nabbed the guy.
Yeah, I think it was Riverfront Stadium.
Wearing the yellow and the yellow.
Like, the goal. We call the goal there. Yeah. But would you seriously, if you're the manager of the Pirates and that happened, would you send them down? Because that's the offensive part.
You got to send a message there, man. I think you got to. It's not. You can sit there and have a sense of humor about it, but I think you got to send a message. That's just that's unprofessional.
Now, and if you're the Dodgers, maybe you have some fun with it. But when your team stinks like the Pirates, that's when I think the manager needs to send a message. And right now, it looks like it's cute, but it embarrasses the organization.
And you don't verbally condone it.
Now, he's going to introduce me to Rodell. What's the name? Help me out. The third base coach?
Rebello.
Oh, Rebello. Thank you. I'm disappointed in the first base coach. Everybody, his teammates, how do you not know he'd have his phone in his pocket?
What do they think it was?
Looking for batting gloves, right?
We think he was, cigarettes.
Yeah.
I mean, what was now? Guys wear the, put the tin. They got the Copenhagen tin back there. You'll see that.
You shouldn't be doing that anymore, right?
Well, I think it might be outlawed.
Yeah.
But you'll still see guys with the tin.
You ever do that, Chew? I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I chewed
I tried it one time, then I swallowed it.
Did you?
Yeah, I'm bad with cigars. I don't know how to puff the cigars, and I don't know how to do the chew.
You don't inhale on cigars. All right,
Then
that's
what are
one.
you really doing? Where's
And
the
then-
high come
and then
from?
I didn't dip at all until I got scouting in the CFL. Then we're sitting around watching film for like 5 hours at a time, and every guy in the room's got a spittoon. And I fell prey to that. I probably chewed from like 94 to like 2002 or something like that. It was
wow. So you were in
so
it.
I beat it. I mean, it was hard to beat.
So you had the can, or how?
Oh man, I started with the skull, and then then all of a sudden I'm going Copenhagen, then I'm going upper tank, lower tank. I'm going from snuff.
What
a
about when
long
you
cut.
dated though? Would you hide it from your dates, or would you just be, hey, how you doing? And then,
I mean, seriously, I
would you hide it? Were you a closet?
Oh yeah,
because women look at it like, oh yeah.
Oh my girlfriend at the time hated it. I'd be dipping in movies.
Oh, fire!
You know?
You were in it.
Have you fallen asleep with a dip in?
Oh, Larry. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Believe me, if you dip, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It was ugly.
E, have you guys dipped?
I know you play college baseball, so yes, I've dipped.
That's amazing. Sterling,
you get a little bit of the spins. You know, you get
I
a little,
understand the
get
head. It gives you a head rush, right? Yeah. I just always
please
was
tell me you
swallowing.
didn't put it between your toes, Larry.
No, I mean, I didn't even like upper tank. I was simply a bottom tank guy. And then I went to my oral surgeon. I had my lip biopsied a couple times.
Oh,
and I'm
now
like,
that's scary.
So I said to my oral surgeon, I'm like, hey, what do you think? I probably got to quit this. Huh? And I think he was going to say, oh, yeah, you should never started. He's like, nah, you're fine.
Oh, man.
I was like,
check his license.
Seriously.
I
was like, man, what am I? You going to add on another level to your house on me?
Larry, fall this under who cares. I go to the dentist the other day.
Stuff.
Yeah,
man.
no, it is.
I mean,
but
it killed Tony Gwynn.
Man. And I'll say this. I worked with a bunch of top salesmen, men and women. Larry, we did mortgage. They would be chewing.
Really?
I mean, it was in the, like, damn, I'm looking around and I was like, give me some. Let me try these because I ain't going to hit quota. Like, give me some. But I would swallow the stuff.
A lot of these football coaches, you see them on the sidelines at camp. They're sitting there. It's 95 degrees. They got a big lipper in.
I went to the dentist the other day, and the dude, we're getting done. It was just a checkup. And he's like, well, let me check for cancers. I'm like, I don't want to hear that from you. Tell me if the digits are good, but I'll go find that out another time. I didn't come here for that. And then he's doing, I don't want to hear from you, doc. But real quick, Larry, I got to have oral surgery because I got 2 baby teeth here that should have been pulled. And I got a tooth at the bottom that needs to be pulled up.
Right.
So I got to have braces on the bottom, and I risk getting a cyst. And there was like a little dark shadow on the X-ray.
Right.
I'm telling you all my stuff. Now, what's your social security number? But dude, I'm going to be a 50-year-old man
with braces.
But he's like, you got to bring that tooth up, or it's over. So I'm like nervous, man. I'm like, dude, I just came.
Don't be nervous. Just
oral surgery.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, they'll knock you out, right? Just ask for the good stuff.
Yeah. All right, I'll tell him you said it.
Yes.
Yeah. Your dude telling you, what's his license? No, you're fine. Keep going.
Oh, no, are you sure, Doc? I mean, this is my second lip biopsy. Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
Do you miss it, Larry, at all, or you just kicked your
I beat it? First of all, I read an article that if you're a smoker or if you're a dipper, the physical withdrawals are all gone. 90% of the physical withdrawals are gone within 72 hours.
Wow.
So if you can beat it for 72 hours, you're more than halfway home. You're almost home. So I kept telling myself that, and then what I did was I got it in my car. I got a huge thing of low sodium David sunflower seeds, and if I ever feel like if I'm at the ballpark, I'm out at the yard.
Yeah,
man, I crave it. So then I'll just take a huge handful of seeds, and I'll just force them into my bottom lip like that, and just give myself that kind of that tight bottom lip. And that's it. That's what I did.
Wow, Larry, I appreciate
it's
all
nasty,
that.
man. Quit it if you can.
Yeah.
Don't start it if you haven't started it.
And I'll tell you what, we got Scott Osler coming up at 2 p.m. But I got just real quick. I lived in the gym. I grew up playing sports, and here since doing this job, Larry, I ain't a coffee dude, but I got addicted to Red Bull, and it wasn't the taste. It was just that carbonation. But I was like, damn, I'm getting a little muffin top. I ain't eating. I'm getting a muffin top, but that's all sugar and sodium. And Larry, 2-3 weeks after 7 pounds, like I see it going down. And I think to myself, addiction is real. Like I'm going through withdrawals, and I'm thinking, what are people, the real ones out there, trying to stop alcohol alcohol or drugs, and you talk about that withdrawal. It's real, man.
Well, everybody's different. Sometimes people just need to reason it through. Sometimes people need, something to replace it with.
And then go ahead, man.
But the whole key is just if you're gonna quit, just quit, and just if you fall off the wagon, just get back up and just quit again.
Yeah,
you just gotta quit one more time, then you start.
No doubt.
As long as you do that, you're ahead.
Great advice. Last time you talked to Osler.
Get this. I just saw him at camp a couple days ago. You were there. Did you see Osler make the one-hand grab? Seriously,
dude,
the cameraman that I was with that day who's filming me
he did not do a one-handed grab.
He got film of Osler, the rocket from Trey Lance, hit the ground, had this wild thing. Osler grabbed it one hand, boom. So we sent him the video. We'll see if he's got the video.
I'm sure he'll remember, but man, I got to tell you what, for a guy his age,
highlight reel.
I mean, he's got to try like he's in the lab. I caught at the gym. He looks good.
Yeah, he's lean and mean.
Yeah, his hands are still working. So Friday, real quick before we get up against it here, Larry, what are you looking for Friday?
Well, number one is health. Number two is Trey and the offense to get some kind of rhythm going. And then I'm looking for highlights on D. Just guys flying around. I mean, you'll hear guys say it. Hey, before practice, let's fly around and make plays. That's what football's about, especially in the preseason. Guys are playing for the check. Guys are playing for their future. I want to see the Marcelino McCrary balls and all these second and third team defenders fly around, hit people, and make plays. That's what I'm looking for. Health, Trey, a little rhythm.
What about how much of Debo? Because I've been asking you, how much is Trey going to play? What about Debo?
Don't need to see anything from Debo.
We might not even see him at all.
He's a made man in my mind. I'd like to see Ayuk make. No, I don't need those. That's what not. Those guys are established. I don't need the established guys to do anything. I want to see I want to take inventory on the back half of the roster, and I want to be pleasantly surprised by a half dozen young players that weren't on the team that are going to add to this team this year. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay. And you told me you don't want to see Trey if Trent is not out there. That stayed with me. That makes all the sense in the world.
Right.
Will a guy like me see Banks? Will we get to see some of those
no
guys?
doubt.
Okay.
Want to see Banks, want to see Burford, want to see how that O-line stands up, especially, the ones against the ones. But it's mostly second half. I want to see guys flying around. I want to see some big hits.
It's Larry Krueger, Daryle the Guru Johnson right here on Steiny and Guru. When we get back, the legend, the man, the myth, Scott Osler from the Chronicle will be joining us. You're listening to 95.7 The Game.
They play on Sunday. What a win for the 49ers! And join Damon and Ratto on Wednesday.
Niners.
Steiny and Guru continues on 95.7 The Game.
No, Steiny, it's the great Larry Krueger and myself. We take you all the way up until 3 p.m. And on the other side, because we got a heavyweight, we got somebody's at the door, Larry. We got company coming. We're going to get into the Western Conference projections. They are out, released by ESPN. So obviously, I'll tell you what number, see if you can guess it, that the Dubs come in at in the rest of the league. But right now, not just a legend, but a guy that I broke bread with, Mark Abana's retirement party. You know, I was over there and we had dinner with the great, lovely Miss Osler and Scott Osler. So I'm going to call you a friend. What's up, friend? Welcome to the program, Scott.
Yeah, we're a friend. Although you were, big timing us and Cadillac and us elsewhere. And your wife was kind enough, charming enough to sit down with my wife and me and spend some time. So that was cool. But we did get to talk to you a little bit, Guru. So
I'll tell you what, I thought I knew you, but my partner's telling me you're doing one-handed catches at the Niners practice.
I'm just showing off.
Seriously, man. Ayuk might struggle with the Lance fastballs, but Osler plucks it with his hands. That was a pretty nice.
Not only that, but let's be clear on this. It was a sizzling one hopper off the grass.
It was.
It came up all wobbly and everything. I snagged that sucker.
And my cameraman filmed it for you. Did he ever get you the footage?
He did. It's funny because my son is a producer on the one of my sons is a producer on the KRON TV on the nightly news, and I sent him the clip just for fun, and he used it. They did a bit on the news.
Oh, that's awesome.
Me catching that thing. So yeah. That was easily the catch of the year. I don't know why ESPN didn't pick it up.
It's funny. I was saying to somebody at practice the other day, I'm like, there's two things you got to remember when you're on an NFL sideline. Don't get rolled up on, because that's the real deal. But more importantly, don't get caught backpedaling wildly when there's no real chance of getting rolled up on. You don't want to look afraid to get rolled up on.
Yeah. And also, don't be looking down at your notes when the thing comes in and smacks you in the face.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What's your takeaway, Scott? You were on the sidelines. You've caught the Niners a couple times in practice. How are they looking to you?
They look great. Although, Larry, I got to tell you, I'm not one of the sideline geniuses. And I don't mean that facetiously, but the guys who can watch a practice and kind of take away something, what's going on, and what the middle linebackers are doing, what the guards are doing, and stuff. I'm still such a naive, superficial fan that it's kind of all a blur. But I think things look pretty good. And I read people and I digest stuff. And my takeaway is that things are going really well. The defense is apparently splendid. And the offense is very interesting. And especially after this last practice, when they broke out more of the offense for Trey Lance, is very intriguing and potentially extremely exciting. So if I'm a fan, I'm not a fan, but as an observer, I'm really enthusiastic to see what these guys can do. We're not going to see it until the season starts because the practice games are useless. But I'm fired up. If I'm a fan, I'd be really fired up about this season.
Yeah, I'm with you. And speaking of the season, Larry, we threw it out to Scott. I threw this to Larry and the fans. Last year wasn't perfect. There was some turbulence. It looked like it wasn't going to happen. I'm just talking playoffs. They go on this magical ride and almost get to the Super Bowl. Now you insert a rookie quarterback. To me, the bare minimum, forget Trey, Scott, the bare minimum when you talk about team goals, Kyle's got to get this team to the playoffs. You say what to that?
Oh my God, yes, absolutely has to. Yeah. For one thing, if Trey Lance is a complete flop, that's on Kyle. So he's definitely the pressure's on. Got to get the playoffs. And I'd say maybe even win at least the first round or it's a disappointment. And everyone's worried about Trey Lance. We have no idea how he's going to be. Is he going to be good? I think he's going to be at least good this season. But it's going to be great to watch. It's going to be fun.
The beautiful part about having a columnist on is you guys can go in any direction. And, obviously we're going to talk a lot of Niners, but I got to get your thoughts on the Giants. I mean, last year they won 107. And to me, Scott, that was the 2021 Giants are not one of the greatest teams of all time. It just was a weird year. Everything broke right. This year, things aren't breaking right. We'll see if the Giants can even get off their keisters and get back in the race here. But what's your feel on Kapler and Farhan Zaidi as far as are they on the hot seat? Should they be on the hot seat? Was last year the aberration? Is this an aberration? What we're seeing this year? How do you grade them out in that regime in their short tenure?
Well, I think last year was at least a small aberration, maybe a huge one. Because 107 wins, that was just crazy with the crew they had. That just made no sense in any way. And so in a way, it's kind of bad because it set up this high expectation that, okay, maybe they don't win 107 next year, but at least they're going to win 100 now. And so the expectations were just unachievable. But this year the crash has been pretty big, and I think the heat is on. I think to me it's more on Farhan than it is on Kapler because Kapler is what can he do? Is he responsible for the fact that they're too old to play defense? Is he responsible for the fact that they don't have any one or two superstars like all the other top teams have? I don't think that's Kapler's fault. So in my mind, although if they fire Farhan, maybe Kapler would go with him. I don't know, but I would. To me, Farhan's on the hot seat and it's not all about him. To me, it's more about the ownership and the budget parameters they set and everything. Because here's my quick take: is Farhan is in danger of becoming kind of like Billy Beane, which is and I'll explain that. To me, Billy Beane for years has been kind of the front man for a faulty and flawed baseball organization. And because he's a charming guy and a personable guy and really presents himself well and does some amazing things with personnel, with limited personnel and with limited budgets, he's kind of covered up the sins of the boss, the owner, the organization. And I think the Giants in a smaller way are kind of in danger of going the same way. A team that has money but just won't quite spend enough to really compete with the big boys. And so then it falls on Farhan to do this juggling, and you can only juggle so much. And, and to me, it's all about, you got to spend some money. Just look at the teams that did so well at the trading deadline. It's teams that spend money.
You're listening to Steiny and Guru on 95.7 The Game. It's our pleasure to welcome Scott Osler from the Chronicle. Scott, I agree with you. I think Larry does too. I don't want to speak for him about Farhan. Like, the jig is up. I mean, he is on the hot seat, and we don't know what the future holds. But you mentioned Gabe Kapler. I'm not blaming him. I'm asking the great Scott Osler, what do you make of him as a manager? Because what I make, Scott, before you answer, he's not Bruce Bochy. I hate analytics. I hate people telling me that the computer's coming up with the lineup. So I look at Gabe like, is he really in charge? What do you make of Kapler?
Well, Guru, I think you got to be realistic. This is not 10 years ago or 20 years ago now in baseball. Everybody doesn't have to be 100% analytics driven. But every team is pretty deep into it with very few exceptions. And the top teams are all, pretty deep in the analytics. And the day of the manager walking in and not listening to anybody and just making out the lineup and saying, hell, this is what I'm going to go with, and I'm going with my gut because this is my guy or whatever, those days are gone. And I don't think they're ever coming back. And in some ways, to me, that's sad. But the computers are here and everyone's using them. And, Kapler might be a little bit on the upper extreme edge, and the Giants might be in terms of doing everything by computer. But I don't think there's any real manager in baseball who's now just calling the shots on his own without being told behind the scenes what to do. It's just kind of an open secret. But and so I don't blame Kapler for that. I don't. Whoever they hire, they're not going to go hire Tommy Lasorda or something like that. Those days are gone. So what can you do?
Scott, let's jump back to the Niners for a second. We haven't seen Garoppolo moved, and yet we all think it's forthcoming at some point. If you're John Lynch, what's the priority here? Is the priority to get back something compensation-wise that you want? Or is the priority to make sure that Garoppolo doesn't wind up on the Rams or the Seahawks? Or maybe even in the conference? What's more important to you, the pick that you get, or the assets that you get in return for him, or being able to control his next destination?
For me, Larry, it's B. I don't know. I'd be curious to hear what you say, but they definitely, and it's weird. The big talk as well. You don't want him to wind up in the Seahawks because you got to face the Seahawks. Well, to me, if you don't want the guy, you don't have faith that he's a top level quarterback that can take you places, then you shouldn't worry about him leading the Seahawks, because if you go play the Seahawks led by Jimmy Garoppolo, you should be able to beat him. You know what his limitations are. You know what he can't do. So you should be able to beat him. So, but I think that's their main worry. I think that's their main worry, because what are they going to get for him at this point? They're going to get a third rounder or something like that. So that can't be, to my way of thinking, that can't be a oh my God, we got to hold out to the last minute. We'll get that precious third rounder that's going to turn around their franchise. So I think it's B. What do you think?
I would say it's B as well. But then, you know what? I do kind of, when I'm around the 49ers, I do get the sense that, Parag and John and Kyle all have a collective like scorecard, but then they also have their individual scorecards. And Parag's got to cut good deals to save face. And I think John's going to make effective trades. And I don't know about the D4 trade or the Buckner trade. So maybe there is a little pressure on the return. Kyle's just got to win games. So I do kind of think they are aware, let's just say, of what their individual scorecards are.
Yeah. But, and also I think there's a slight element of, it would be nice to keep him around at least for a few weeks, because if Trey sprains an ankle or something like that, we're kind of stuck.
Right.
And it would be much better to have Jimmy back there. So I guess that's a third thing to think about. But, yeah, it's a very strange situation. Every team in the NFL has a weird quarterback situation and controversy and talk and arguments and all that stuff. But this is certainly an interesting one. One thing I do believe, that if, I don't think it's going to happen, but if they wind up keeping Jimmy for some reason, that the team is going to be divided by this horrible dissension in the locker room, guys taking sides. And I don't really see that happening at all. Because one thing, the personality and the nature of the two guys, and also the fact is the professional team, the guys with a lot of strong leaders on the team, they're not going to let the team dissolve into some kind of squabbling circus kind of thing. That's not a problem.
A lot of good stuff, Scott. We know you're busy and we appreciate the time. Tell the missus we said hello.
All right. Thanks, Guru.
Yep.
Larry, I appreciate it. I've got just like at a Bunny's party, I got an ice cream truck parked outside here.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I appreciate it. Forgot about that. Yeah, mine. Yes, he had an ice cream truck.
Oh, look at that. Did he have a jumpy house?
No jumpy house.
Did he have a pony?
Yeah, no pony.
Face painting?
They had a golf cart to take you to the estate. You had to go up. So
look at that.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Look at
we had a good time. Thanks a lot, Scott.
All right, fellas. All right. Good talking to you.
Man, a lot of good stuff, man.
A lot of good stuff.
The cat's out the bag with with Farhan. Like, dude, you gotta go. You gotta go shopping, and I just don't know if Walmart or Nordstrom's, just because you got money on the black card, I don't know if what you need is readily available. And if it's not, Larry, are we gonna have to go through another season of what the hell is this bullpen? Because everything is kind of eroding around the Giants. And like you were spitting that fire this morning about, it's not Kapler's fault that, Duvall pitched too, you don't want him to overload him, but Rodgers is there, and that's pretty much all you got.
I know. The hard thing for me on this one is that I like Farhan more than I like Kapler. Kapler, I have a hard time relating to. Kapler to me seems.
What do you mean by relate?
He's just not a bro. I mean, he's just like I don't think I'd be friends with him. It's like
that's interesting.
He seems like the kind of guy. He's effective, but do you want to hang with him? I kind of put him in I kind of like he's like a baseball version of Jim Harbaugh. It's like he's effective and you would say he's competent, but do you want to hang with him? I don't know. I don't know if I want to hang with Harbs, and I don't know if that I want to hang with Gabe. Where Farhan seems glib and fun and likable and easygoing, and he can laugh at himself. But yeah, I think Scott makes a compelling point that you probably have more fingers to point at Farhan and what he hasn't done more so than Gabe. I just like Farhan more, so I want to give him more rope than I want to give Gabe. Gabe, I can't relate to.
Yeah, and, it's not about friendship. I feel like Gabe's a good dude, but I totally feel that because everything I feel like he says he runs it through his mind before. Some people out there probably like, well, that's what a smart person does, but it's kind of computer-like. And
I didn't like the way he pushed Kai Correa the other day.
Oh, okay, well, that was.
I mean,
I don't think that's got enough run.
Would he have pushed the Cobra like that?
Yeah, no doubt.
Would he have pushed Matt Williams like that? Yeah. Would he have pushed somebody bigger and more physical than that?
Doubt.
It's easy to kind of push somebody who's smaller than you. I thought that was the optics on that were bad.
Well, what did you make of? He was on Giants. Farhan was on the Giants Talk podcast, and he says he understands the Giants' frustrations, the fans' frustrations, and I kind of didn't like that because to me, I take it as, there's water on the boat. Before you were this messiah, and I was sipping the Kool-Aid. Because I thought you had the Midas touch, and I thought the farm was being, the grass was getting watered, Larry, and the seeds were growing. Now we're hearing 2-3 years away. You can't close a deal. Coffee's for closers, but this is getting dire. And forget this season, which right now doesn't look like it's going to culminate in a playoff berth. It's still May. We won't talk about what's happening right now in today's game, but again, it bothers me that he got that BOD, Farhan, the benefit of the doubt. And now as a fan, that's what I am. I'm taking inventory, and I'm like, this ain't Nordstrom's. This is more like Nordstrom's rack. And it's, what have you done? Not Gabe. What have you done to fill the cupboards? And right now, the answer is not much.
What's Farhan's signature edition?
Chris Bryant at the deadline. That was a rental, Blockbuster Video back in my day.
So you gave away two pretty good prospects for a couple weeks of Chris Bryant. You're going to hang your hat on that 4 years in.
But what else would it be if it wasn't that, Larry?
It's probably the kid from De La Salle, Kyle Harrison.
Okay. Well,
I would say that. But I mean, he's not here. He's not here yet. But I'm just saying, where's that? I'm looking at Farhan's moves, and
Rodon, Gosman, maybe?
Well, I mean, he's made some decent moves, Gosman for sure. But I mean,
he's gone now.
This fascination with rotating the 38th, 39th, and 40th guy in your 40 man or 23rd, 24th, and 25th man, while you have
now you're preaching.
There's no foundation. There's no foundation. You're building a house. Where are the walls? Where's the foundation? Where's the roof?
Yeah.
You're making moves with Padlow and Stewie Fairchild and all these no-name guys. What about, who's your first baseman of the future? Who's your second baseman of the future? Who's your third baseman of the future?
Wow.
Who's your future outfield? What's your future rotation?
Dude, that's a long list.
Man, it's a long list. They haven't done a lot of building, and this is year 4. I was hoping at this point that he would have already done a lot of building and that we could really see the thing coming. I didn't know the Warriors were going to be a dynasty, but guess what? When they started drafting Clay and Steph and HB and Festus, I could see the walls going up. Here comes Draymond in the second round. I could see the building. All Warrior fans, were we satisfied? No. But guess what? You could see the makings of the building being built. It's year 4.
Yeah.
Where's the building?
And I'll say this, and I know Bart is not on his watch, but pleasantly, he's become my favorite thing to watch, on this team.
That's a Sabian pick.
No doubt, but if he could just, let's say, pan out, maybe he's your Posey. And I know that's a stretch, but right now, I'm attracted to watching Bart play the catcher position. Okay. And again, Guru, you got low standards. He did a good tag the other day, but it's not that. He was Rocky Balboa on the mat, and he's come off, and now there seems to be a
huge power.
But where's the next Crawford? I know you talk about Luciano, and where's the next belt? Where's the next Chili Davis? I
don't want to hear about any prospects who are an A-ball, by the way. I think there should be a rule on sports talk radio in this market. You cannot talk about Giants prospects until they go to Double-A and have a good year in Double-A, because the Giants' history is filled with guys who kicked butt.
The 4A guys,
guys were dominant in the Cal League. Do it in the Texas
League.
Hear this
Do
it in the
Larry?
Eastern League.
I always like to cite my sources. It's either Shasky, Bonte, or JD. But the last great Giant outfielder drafted was Chili Davis.
Oh my!
I mean, if you think about that, is a stretch.
JD, that is a problem.
Wow!
I mean, seriously,
Chili, I love you, Chili, but damn.
It's probably Dan Gladden who came after Chili, but it's you're talking about guys who are in retirement.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, the sad thing about that, if you're an old Giants fan, and this is even before my time, But the Giants in the early 70s, Gary Matthews, Gary Maddox, Willie Kirkland, Jim Ray Hart, Bobby Bonds, George Foster.
Oh my God!
These guys were all
52
Giants.
bombs 1 year with the Reds.
These guys were all Jack Clark. I mean, the Giants
Jack
once
the
upon
Ripper.
a time. Bill White, Willie McCovey, Orlando Cepeda. The Giants had a farm system that was like as good as almost anybody in the late 60s.
Yeah.
Look where they're at now.
Yeah, I don't like it. And again, he's going to have one of the best off-season. It's going to be like Christmas.
Time to spend some cash.
And no doubt. And for him to say that on the podcast, the Giants Talk podcast, that lets me know, maybe last year he thought he was untouchable. He's feeling it now. And it is, forget the fans, it's the big club. You went after Soto, and again, I just didn't like that. He basically did nothing at the break. And Krueg and Kipe, they had to, State of the Union, but that was so depressing. And then the team's kicking the ball around. I'm like, that was a low point of the season.
And don't tell me you're aware of our discontent. I mean, oh great, go have fan discontent awareness night. Fan discontent awareness night, and maybe they can pass out Padre jerseys or Dodger jerseys or something like that. Because I mean, we're aware of the discontent.
You know what? We had, you and I had you made it happen, the great Will Clark last week on the show. But when we get back, I want to talk to you about the NFL because, Larry, I'm telling you, my viewing pleasure of watching an NFL game, I've gotten used to it. It's been destroyed. And I'm one of those guys that, hey, Goo, come watch the game at my house. If 10 people are over, I'm not coming. I need to be in the lab. I want to hear the commentators. That's just me, Larry. I'm weird like that. But I watch a game now, and it's like I'm watching two games because I look at the score box to see on an NFL play, any play, if there's a flag. I'm done celebrating the actual natural play because you got to see now if there's a flag. It's incredible. I don't like it, but I've gotten used to it. So I come in today, I can't whistle, but whistling Dixie, I'm fired up about the preseason. And then the NFL, Larry, they're talking about an ideal with the referees that they want more flags thrown on illegal contact. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You've already made a cornerback's job throwing the flag as hard as it's ever been. Mike Haynes, Lester Hayes, Ronnie Lott, and Hicks on line one. It's already impossible to guard receivers now. But if you're going to enforce illegal contact, I mean, what are we really doing? Just take away the pads. Let's play 7-7. But I want to get your thoughts on the other side on why the rules committee would even take this on and even think about it.
Yeah, no, we'll hit that.
It's out of control.
We also got to talk a little Frank Gore.
Oh, no doubt. We'll get into it.
We got to get into Frank Gore, too.
Yeah. You're listening to Steiny and Guru, Larry in for Steiny on 95.7 The Game. We'll be right back.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same, but at Fisher.
back to Steiny and Guru on 95.7 The Game.
No Steiny, Larry in for Steiny. We are rocking and rolling. I'm having fun, Larry.
Oh, I'm too, man.
And
Show's
now
going by fast.
And you know what? You say a lot of good stuff, but the takeaway when I get in the Batmobile, I call it Scott Hostler's one-handed catch. I need a life.
Scott, it was awesome too. It was like one of those, dude, Osler, you couldn't do that. If we threw you 100 footballs, like with that, because Trey Lance, ball's coming in hot. And it was
Remember Elway used to break digits? Vance Johnson.
I mean, it was
dudes?
a one bouncer, and he picked it clean. I mean, and we had footage of it, and we just sent it to him. So that is cool that he got some legs out of that.
Now we're here about 27 more minutes. We talked about addiction, our addictions,
right?
So you're talking to producer E during the break. I go in the refrigerator looking for my water I thought I left, and I had an old Red Bull. So I told you I quit, and I told the people I quit. But
You
Larry,
threw it down.
Yeah, it's right here. So it's the small one. This will be the last one. But like you said, every day is a new day. Just don't judge me because I just told you I quit.
I'm not judging.
I feel like it's crack.
Here's the thing.
I'm like, oh my God.
Goose doing lines on the console.
Right.
On the console.
Never. Yeah.
No, but the key is it doesn't matter how many times you quit. Just quit one more time and you start it up.
It's real talk.
There you go.
Now we're going to get to the rules and the NFL Rule Committee, but I told you and the people that the Western Conference projections are out.
Yeah.
And these projections are from ESPN. I always like this stuff. Steiny and I get off on it. But what do you think the Warriors is set at? Next season, defending champs.
I would say 52.
Almost, Larry, 55.
55?
Yeah. Second in the West, not first, second. And can you guess behind who?
Clippers.
That's no, but I'm with you on the Clippers. I'm like, watch out. But it's the Phoenix Suns, 56 and 26.
But Ayton isn't happy,
but he got paid. He better be.
Oh, I guess maybe he's happy.
You know what?
Again.
Real quick, Larry, before we talk about Phoenix, because I want to. Do you buy that COVID infiltrated their locker room?
Possibly. Yeah.
But then why wouldn't we have heard about it? And I know it's not going to change anything, but I'm looking at Phoenix like, no, you guys choked that game 7. Your things were tight. That I saw it. Chris Paul, I don't know what happened. The Pelicans gave you a run from your money. Shout out head coach Willie Green, but I don't know if I'm buying that to the point of I wanted to see the Warriors get through them instead of Dallas to get to the final.
Well, okay.
I felt robbed.
First of all, I really believe this, especially in football and basketball, or especially in basketball and baseball, is that the seasons are so freaking long that you do not stay the same as a team from the opener to the end.
Okay.
You either grow together or you grow apart. I don't believe that you ever stay the same in basketball and in baseball. There's too much downtime. There's too many conversations. You either come together as a team and you're galvanized more and more and more through the schedule, or there are factors, sometimes internal, sometimes external, that kind of start to pull the group apart. And that's, I think, the true genius of Myers and Kerr, is that they find a way. Kerr is just such a genius at bringing the group along. He doesn't bury guys at the end of the bench. He brings the group along from A to B, from Halloween to the 4th of July. They're growing together. The Warriors didn't fracture. That's why the Warriors ultimately, I think, were standing at the end. There's a lot of good teams, but the Warriors grew together as a team this year. And I think Phoenix maybe grew apart. And maybe it was part of the Ayton rumors, and the pending free agency.
But he was fighting his coach in that playoff game. He played like 11 minutes.
Right. I mean,
that can't happen.
I just think that there was probably some bad communication there, and Phoenix didn't look like they were galvanized as a team. Wow. I mean, they look closer on Christmas than they looked at the end of the year.
You shocked that this ESPN says, hey, you're going to be number one again in the because again, it's over the 82. You're going to be playing, bottom tier teams. So it's almost like they're getting that benefit of the doubt again. And if I'm Chris Paul, I'm like, dude, you got to make sure, because that looked bad.
Well, and Chris Paul's older. I mean, how old's Chris Paul?
But he looked like he had the fountain of youth.
No, I know, but I mean, now we're going to project into next year. They're going to have number one.
Gotcha.
He's going to run another marathon at this age, and they're still going to be the pace setter in the NBA. I'm not sure if I see that. If you made me bet, I'd bet under. for Phoenix.
Okay. You know what? And I'm taking the Warrior over. Last year, I shocked a lot of people.
It's a high number, though.
Yeah, I said over
Golden
54 for the Golden State. But they're so good. And they just play smarter. They got their style of brand of basketball where you can implement, just like what the Niners are going to do. And I know not to this degree. You got more youth, but you trust him. You got a system. DiVincenzo, okay, maybe he didn't pan out in sack. I do like him when he was with Milwaukee. Maybe the Warrior way, we'll see a better version of him.
I'm going under on Golden State. Okay. Here's why. Because Golden State at this point, they're all about the title. They're all about firing in June. They know what it takes to get there. Right. And so guess what? Any little bump in the road as far as physical for any of those guys, they're not gonna push it. Yeah. Draymond's got a sore hip, sit. Steph's got a sore ankle, sit.
It kind of happened last year, Larry.
Yeah,
Draymond missed 35. And Steph missed time.
Yeah, and it's going to happen more and more and more. And it's not important. It's more
trying to win the war, the battle, not the war.
And also, you know what?
The battle, the war.
You want to you want to win the war.
Okay,
you don't want to fight about the battle. The war is more important than the battle. No, but I think ultimately it's the same thing. It's like you want to bring the group along. Well, how do you bring the group along? Well, rest your veteran players liberally. And give your young players minutes and then bring the group along so they're always feeling like everybody's involved. So it's not, guys sitting. The one thing Kerr does as a former bench player, he doesn't ice his bench. He doesn't say, hey, you know what? Check with me in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You're not playing. You're just DNP, my decision. No. He brings guys along. He looks for avenues to get these guys minutes to make sure they don't get iced.
And it'll be greater later by giving these guys the experience. And one thing that gets buried,
that means the under.
Yeah, and I do. You know what? I get that. And the more you win, we saw it with the Bulls. It's like just what you said. We want to be fresh when it comes playoff time. And maybe Phoenix went all in, exerting all that energy, led by Chris Paul, who looked like a point god because he was balling. And then maybe fatigue set in. And those games where you don't get the off nights, it's a game every other night. That had something to do with it.
Also, I think Warriors, every guy believes, Steph believes this, Draymond, Kerr, Myers, I think they all believe this. They can win the title out of any spot. They can win the title as the 8th
that's
seed.
Where it's at now,
they can win the title as the 4 seed. They can win the title as the 1 seed. So guess what? The seed doesn't matter. Their health and their rhythm going into the playoffs matters most. And so that means you're going to sit guys when they're dinged.
I'm going to read the rest of the Western Conference, but I want to clean up the call. Let's go out to Napa and welcome Matt to the program. He's got some thoughts on Kapler. What's up, Matt?
Hey, how you guys doing today?
Good. All right.
Oh.
What's going on, man? What's on your mind?
Was that material? Or maybe the phone just got out. It happens.
Who knows?
Yeah. But no, I get you. But I think the Clippers, I'm telling you, Coach, that team grew with character. I was telling Steiny, like, man, and they got something. And now you're bringing Kawhi back to that. Watch out. And then Zion. I mean, I don't know if he would. I don't know what the dude was dunking in like sweatpants last year when he supposedly wasn't able to play. But they're going to get him back. They got confidence from that series with the Clippers. So it's not going to be as easy as I think this year was. And from a Warrior perspective, Larry, of all the chips the Warriors won, obviously the ones with Durant, Steiny and I were doing the postgame. We'd be out at the arena like, wake me up in the fourth because you knew they were going to win.
Right.
I didn't think this team had it. They went on a road trip when Draymond had came back initially from that back injury. He had piano back. I'm thinking, is his career in and then he just looked like a loaf of Wonder Bread when the playoffs start. Fresh, everything, everything gelled. So they are a player, but they play the smartest brand of basketball in the league. No wonder they won. It's like, shocker, do some backup. All these other teams, man, I don't get why they don't look at the Warriors and say, let's play like that. And I ask all these former, hoop players, why don't other teams try to do it? And he says it's ego. Like it's a lot of, I don't want to give myself up for Larry to get the back door. Like, I'm like, damn, then that's selfishness, man.
Yeah.
And that's why you don't win.
Yeah. And the ISO ball over what I think is a pretty brand of ball to watch. And that's,
pretty. I love it, man.
Pace and space, man, and share the ball, body movement, ball movement. That's the way Golden State plays.
We got Matt back, Larry. Let's go.
Oh, we do have Matt?
Yeah. What's up, Matt?
Hey, Guru, it's your May 19th, brother. I'm here. I got my story about Jim Harbaugh. And when you guys were talking about who would you rather hang out with, when I was young, I got a chance. I had a friend that was a producer for the NFL Network, and I got to carry cameras with him for a day. And you talk about someone you may or may not want to hang out with. The first year they were good under Harbaugh, I was carrying cameras for the game when Tony Romo punctured his lung, and they came back and went in overtime.
Yeah, and he threw the touchdown pass. Yeah.
I was standing on the sidelines for that, and you end up in the 49ers locker room, and I'm 6'2". I'm just about as tall as Harbaugh, and they got these guys with the cameras, and they go, hey, stand up here on the podium so we can center these things and get a good shot on Harbaugh. And he walks through the doorway, and you see those eyes that almost look like Ronnie Lott just piercing, looking at you. And this kid needs to get off of my podium right now. If Harbaugh's the guy on your side, I'd walk into a bar fight with him. And if he's not on your side, I'd stay away from him. I'll leave it right there.
Wow.
Exactly. Jimmy's a tough guy, man.
Romo hit Jesse Holly on that one with the punctured lungs at the stick. I remember that one. I was like, this dude's a soldier. I'll say this about Harbaugh, because I liken it to Jimmy Johnson, and it's like Macbeth, a sports version of just a tragedy that he didn't get to finish what he started in Dallas. Okay. I don't know what it is, who Harbaugh rubbed the wrong way and why he felt like there were spies or what was going on with Jed, but that dude was made for the Niners, and I hate that ended in the way that it did. They had something special, man. I'm sorry.
They did.
Steiny can't stand him. A lot of people can't stand Jim.
Well, I mean, Jim is a quarterback whisperer, or is this offensive guru. I mean, I think is kind of is false. I mean, he was a descendant of Bo Schembechler, 3 yards in a cloud of dust. But as far as your football team playing with toughness, surrounding himself with outstanding coaches, I mean, the guy did it. He had tremendous staff. He's had a tremendous staff everywhere he's been. Coaches want to coach under Jimmy, for sure, whether it be Michigan, Niners. He's respected in the coaching circles for sure, and he's a tough guy. I just don't know that he's an offensive guru. I mean,
but you don't have to be.
No, you don't have to be. But I mean,
have the right people
he was
around you.
when he was with the San Diego Toreros and he was at Stanford. Yeah. I think there were a lot of people that were painting him like he's like an offensive guy who can develop all these points. He's a really good football coach. But I mean, as far as his offense, they had a hard time just getting plays called in on time.
Did you think? And the whole thing with Steiny and I was like, Steiny, he's coming back. I don't know when he's coming back. And then when I heard the initial reports that he was going to be, the Raiders were interested, or he would come out from college to the Raider job. Did you think, oh, this is a go? I thought it was like, it was it. The next 5 minutes, we're going to hear Harbaugh's back in the NFL. That didn't happen. I guess he wanted total control.
Well, and I'm
like, damn, Jim.
I think his whole
his
whole persona fits better in college, where he's intense. He drives drives his players really hard. He gets the most out of you, but then he kind of starts to wear off after a while. Now, guy played for him, and they swear by him, and they swear that he's one of the greats of all time, but. I just think in some ways, I think he's ideally suited for recruiting, and he's ideally suited for a group of players that moves on after 4 years. Cause I think his message could get tired over time.
Yeah. And he wouldn't be the only coach that's happened to. Now I told you, I'm gonna give you the rest of the Western Conference win totals. Larry, you tell me what you think. Suns are at 56, Warriors are at 55, Nuggets at 53. They'll get Murray and Michael Porter Jr. back. Grizzlies at 51. I would take the over because I feel like they're young, dumb, and they're mad the way that their season ended, and they'll take the regular season almost like it's the.
What did they win last year?
That I don't know. That's a good question. I want to say they more won. I don't know. They won more than 51.
Yeah, I kind of like them over.
Clippers 50.
I like them
and
over.
The Mavs 49. I'm worried about them. And you lose Brunson. I'm not mad at Brunson, but he helped you a whole hell of a lot than he hurt you. What are you replacing them with? I don't get it.
To me,
Tim Hardaway Jr.?
That was the shocker that listening to you guys. I could not believe that Steiny picked the Mavs in 5.
Okay, so my boy's I got to stick up for my guy. So we're in the green room.
Right.
I don't know. The great Whitley Sandretto, she's awesome. She comes in. She's like, hey, guys, I want to get your prediction. everybody knew it was the Warriors. So Steiny looked and said, hey, has anybody picked Dallas? I was right there. And
so he had it wasn't like he had a ton of conviction.
None. But he got ate up on the like I got worried about, like I had to call him at night, like, dude, you okay? Because I said you were it was a bid, but people they were on him like something. I had to like ants. Yeah. So he took one for the team to be the one, and then Ratto, the great Ray Ratto, picked the Nuggets. Like so he did what
I picked the Nuggets too. I thought the Nuggets.
No, the Nuggets weren't playing. He just said some obscure team. Like he wanted no part of the Dallas Warriors.
I thought Nuggets would take the Warriors down the first round because I thought the Warriors played terrible down the stretch, and I thought they're going to get Jokic, and they got the hole in the middle. They won't be able to stop them.
Yeah, Ratto had the Kings in 9. That was his bit. They're not playing, but he got away with it. So Steiny just said, Dallas, before we get out of here, and I'm having a ball, the illegal contact possible changes to the NFL. Why would you do that? It's a cornerback is already helpless, Larry. When you hear that, are you like, what's the committee doing?
To me, it is the defensive version of holding on offense. You can call call it on any play, and I hate those kinds of those kinds of calls that you can literally call on any play because it creates a lot of distrust among fans as to whether or not these games are actually manipulated. And so I hate the
I got a stat for you.
The calls that could literally come up out of anywhere and you couldn't argue them, and that's one of them.
There was an average of 97 illegal contact calls per season from 2002 to 2020. 97. That dropped to 36 last year, prompting calls from the league to focus more on these hits. Did the NFL just get a little bit worse? And I think if you're going to enforce this, it's not natural. I'm like, yuck.
Well, I always get nervous anytime there's a point of there's a point of emphasis, because it's like we got to see the league and how it's officiated, and then that instant replay on pass interference, and then suddenly they realized that was a disaster, and so they just kind of eliminated it internally through a memo, and they never really told anybody about it. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll wait and see on that one.
Yeah. And speaking of which, Larry, this will be our last show for the meantime, but I had a great 3 days.
Yeah, man.
I just can't really tell you how excited I am for Friday. So I'm a DVR the Niner game. Nobody cares, but I'm going to the Pirate Giants game, me and Robello. Hopefully get to meet him, see what the Giants do, and then DVR the game, which even if I watched it live, Larry, I think I'm Jaworski, so I go back and watch the games.
Right.
But, dude, it's fun the second or third time. You get to see stuff you didn't see, and you know what I mean? Does that make any sense? I feel like I'm a scout.
I love watching the preseason games because you see the back end of your roster. You don't really see the back end of your roster in a regular season game. So, and it matters because heck, we saw Green Bay win the Super Bowl one year. They had like 22 guys on IR. So who your backups are is a huge determining factor in whether or not what kind of season you're going to have and maybe if you're going to win. So it matters a ton. And this is the only real glimpse that you get at the back end of your roster. So that's
we got 3 minutes, Larry. I want to pick your brain on this because Damon and Ratto are next. They got the great Peter King at 4:00. He'll be back with them all NFL season long. My question to you is about Green Bay. So we always talk about the GOAT conversations and Bill Russell, how he got omitted with the rings or whatnot. And I look at Aaron Rodgers. I'm telling you, if I went to a lab, I'm looking at you, Larry, it would be A-Rod. The Hail Mary throws, his ability, just his accuracy. But do you look at his portfolio? Does it cheapen that he only has one trip to the Super Bowl?
It's not 100% on him. It's on Mike McCarthy. It's on Ted Thompson. It's on, there were many years there where Rodgers was playing at a high level and he just didn't have much of a defense. But then in recent years,
it's starting to bother me a little bit.
He's a guy that if you can put heavy rush on him, you can disrupt his rhythm, and he's not going to stand there and get just beat up in the pocket, and he's going to get rid of the ball. So I think we saw that last year. If you speed him up, he's going to throw it on time. He's not going to sit there and take hits. He doesn't have the mobility anymore to really escape.
Yep.
So it's all about, You know,
but on his best day, I'm judging him.
Oh, he's an incredible
And
talent.
Larry, you don't know this about me, and I hate that we only got a couple minutes. Joe Montana is the best quarterback to ever do it for me. In the clutch, I know he didn't have the strongest arm. Tom Brady, it's a different era. We all know that. But I saw the New York Football Giants, led by Strahan and OC, get after Tom Brady and his feet, and he got happy feet. So the kryptonite for Brady was a line like that. Joe never lost on that stage. And people say, oh, he lost before he got that stage. But to me, Montana had no weakness and big game Joe. But Brady, as much as I love him, and sometimes I sway, but Larry, he lost to the same type of defense twice. To me, that doesn't. I'm going with Joe. You say what to that?
I'm not.
Are you mad at me?
No, I'm not mad at you because Joe played in what I think was easily the most talented era of the NFL. 85 Bears, 86 Giants, 87 Redskins.
81 Cowboys. I mean,
81 Cowboys who he obviously climbed that mountain. So, Joe was the original. It's,
the game was different, Larry. You could just kill a man almost.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,